Because you've got powerful legs. How do you get the physique? Was it gym or how do you get the physique?
I've always been...
She's actually not got powerful legs. Do you shower in your dressing room? Do you have a shower on the day of a fight or not? Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
Absolute disgrace.
That's your knowing mind.
Move him out of here, Darren.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him.
What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing nutters messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump, you know what I'm saying?
Welcome, everybody, to episode 561 of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse. Proud members of the Sports Social Network. You can find us where you love to listen to your podcast, or you can find us on YouTube, who apparently doesn't want us here. Joining me today, Steve Wellington and Addy Patterson had an interesting week of boxing behind us. A couple of cards that are definitely worth talking about. I think I'm going to kick it off in the land of the rising sun, where the sun was rising when I watched it at 4 o'clock in the morning, with Junto Nakatani picking up another title in his quest to unify a new division. Steve, I had seen Santiago against Donaire live, and he's a very capable 118-pound fighter. And to be fair to Santiago, he in the end of the second round, he landed some good right hands. He kept Nakatani honest. But I'll be damned if Nakatani didn't eventually just find that left, absolutely piped it in the sixth round, flooring Santiago, and swarming him, I think finishing him off with a right hook along the ropes, if I recall. But just another great performance by this guy, very lanky, and that left hand of his, Steve, it's a fucking weapon. This guy is among a great number, actually, of Japanese fighters right now who you could say are top 20 pound for pound guys. It's a pretty incredible time in Japanese boxing, honestly.
Oh, it is absolutely. I was going to say a weapon of mass destruction, but you could say a weapon of mass distraction almost, the way he sort of pulls that right lead in front of your face and you can't quite see what's going on, and the left hand comes in behind it. But I like the look of Nakatani. And a lot of these guys, especially these Japanese fighters, they seem to start off at like straw weight and paperweight and all these mad weights down 6-7 stone. And they're really lanky guys. I mean, who would have thought not stuffing beef burgers and corn syrup-based products into your gob at every opportunity would make you so fit and in such fine fettle? But anyway, I digress. Matty, you did mention about getting up early in the morning. I had this for Bellew of the week, but I thought, isn't that a Chris Algieri? You see him there? Isn't that a get up at 4 a.m. face? If ever you saw one there with the fella next to him.
Yeah, so he was on the East Coast, but to be like, checking out the whole card, I think he probably would have had to have been to work about 2 a.m. there. So I would be less than pleasant myself. Fair play to Mr. Algieri. This is bullshit. And, this is why they should get themselves some Asian correspondents, for the love of God. You're supposed to be the home of sports, ESPN.
Yeah, exactly. Not dragging poor Algeria out of his bed there. Looking resplendent in his suit, I must say. And the fella next to him looks a little bit more lifelike. But yeah, Algeria showing the effects there with those bleary eyes. But as for the fight itself, Nakatani, really like the look of him. We've got Inoue, obviously, Naoya Inoue. You've got Kazuto Ioka at the top. But Nakatani's closing in, especially on Ioka, I think, at the moment. 27-0 now. 20 knockouts. He gets rid of people. He blasts them out. He's been a pro for nearly 10 years. They brought him along nicely. That finish of Andrew Maloney was absolutely cracking at the end there, dropping him for fun, dropped him early, dropped him late, shows he's got an engine. He can get rid of you early on in the fight. He can go the distance if he needs to. He's been the 10, he's been the 12. And Santiago, I know the commentary team are kind of saying, oh, if he can get close, if he can get his shots off, he showed against Donaire, fighting through the cuts. He's had a tough personal life. This is the guy who's fought his way to the top, but Nakatani is just a different level, I think. You could tell from the beginning, Santiago, if he's going to get inside, that was going to be his best chance of having success. But getting inside, he was going to have to pay a heavy price if he was going to land shots, which he did. Right hand, left hook landed at times, but he didn't have the punching power to upset Nakatani. And he was just eating shots as he came in. That right hand, the left, that dropped him first of all. He looked in a world of trouble, and then that right hook, that finished him off at the end. Lovely place shot. Who knows where Nakatani is going to go next? Santiago's had his moment. He sort of caught Donaire at the tail end of his career and finally finished him off. But the future's all about Nakatani. Is he hunting down Inoue? He's moving up the levels, so quite possibly. But I just like what I see, Matty, and he's got a WBC title now. Get those unifications made.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a fun time at 118 and 122, but we'll get there in a minute. Andy, Nakatani, it'll be interesting, as how he ends up being rated among his peers as after his career finally winds down. But it's really just on the come up now. A lot to like about that left hand. I think his right hand's got a little bit more quality than people give it credit for, because he did pretty much finish that fight with a clean up right hook last night. But if you do, I don't know if you've noticed it. I mean, he caught those right hands from Santiago, obviously, and he could definitely clip him. I mean, southpaw, it happens. But he kind of leans in just a little bit, and I got this fear about him getting scooped by an uppercut or a 45 from somebody. What are you thinking? Is he a knockout artist who is also a knockout waiting to happen?
I think when you look at him as well, I think he's actually quite good on the inside. I think for such a tall guy, he does employ a lot of good upper body movement. Does seem to kind of roll out the distance pretty well. And then when he does cut loose with those long levers, I mean, you see it with the stoppage when he starts winging in those chopping shots. If he catches you clean, you're going to go, and that's the impressive thing as well. Is he's went up in weight, the bantamweight now, and the power seems to have carried up with him. You can see the size difference in that as well, as he's still got that lanky frame, hasn't really put on a lot of muscle. Even though Santiago did look like he was slightly smaller than him, but he is because probably because he's height, you think he's probably going to be hard, easy to hit, and if he does get hit or gets badly knocked out, whether that is going to be spectacular possibly. But as you said, he took a couple of shots, took them pretty well, didn't seem to be flushed, come back strongly, finish it strongly in that as well. Well, obviously with the two drop downs in the round before the stoppage, it was pretty heavy. But I really liked his performance. I thought he was really good on the inside. As I say, he employed a lot of good upper body movement for a guy that size. It was pretty impressive, and I think he'll be in a lot of good fights. It's been proven in that, as well as the power is going to seem to be carrying up as well. So good times. It really is good times. And you're talking about Inoue as well, but which we'll probably get to if you want to bring it up at this point. But it's obviously you talk about what's his name? Naoya anyway, or are you talking about the brother?
Oh, I think both. I think that's what's interesting about the narrative, kind of what's going on at 118 and 122 pounds. So if you kind of look at it, we could be building for Annie. You're more of a historian than me. It could end up being what would be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, fight in Japanese boxing history. Because what we're looking at right now is, so you got Nakatani, who just picked up that who just picked up that belt for the WBC, and they had open scoring, and I hate open scoring, but that's another story. Last night as well, and we'll talk about his fight. Takuma Inoue, the brother of Naoya Inoue, was able to grab hold or keep his WBA belt. You got the IBF with Emmanuel Rodriguez, who was beaten by Inoue, and then you got the WBO, which is held by Maloney, whose brother was knocked out by Nakatani at 115 pounds. So you have this interesting, so you have this interesting path of cleaning up bantamweight for Nakatani, which includes the brother of Naoya Inoue, Takuma Inoue, who just had a fantastic win last night over Jerwin Cajas, who looked freaking huge in the ring last night at bantamweight. So, Steve, here we are, potentially on the cusp of a couple, maybe an 18-month run. These Japanese guys don't fuck around, where we could see Nakatani unify his division and then move up for an all-Japanese showdown for all the belts at 122 against Naoya Inoue, but he would have to get through his brother first. What a storyline.
Yeah, no, it's a really good built-in storyline, actually. And the Japanese fighters, you mentioned the Maloneys as well. They're two good fighting brothers. We've seen brothers in the past, but the Charlos as well. I love it when they're both sort of at a high level. You know, you occasionally would get one brother who's like really, really good, and the other one is maybe not as good. But Takuma looks like he's pretty decent from what I've seen. You know, not going too far ahead of ourselves. Obviously, he's not on Naoya Inoue's sort of level at the moment, but he's definitely a world-class fighter. That body shot that he landed was an absolute cracker. And the Japanese do create these sort of brotherly link-ups. I remember the Kamedas a few years ago. There was 3 of them all together.
Who got banned from Japanese boxing for a period of time for being absolute cunts.
Exactly. Koki Kameda. There was Tomoki and one of the other ones as well. And then there's the Shigeoka brothers on the way up. I remember Marcus Bellinger mentioning them. They look pretty decent as well. So, yeah, if Nakatani had to get through Takuma and then go on to fight Naoya, then that'd be an excellent storyline. Isn't there another Inoue as well, or is he maybe not related? Wasn't the one who fought
cousin? I think
Mungia?
it's a cousin, mate.
Right, okay.
Is it Koki Inoue?
No, was it Tomoki or something?
Yeah, the bigger guy fights at 154, 160. I know you're talking.
Right, yeah, he's another one, but yeah,
Takashi?
It might
Koki
well.
Inoue. I'm sure that's a cousin.
Is it? Let me check. I'll check.
Is he not a welterweight or something?
One of them definitely fought Mungia before, I think, and he went the distance. Let me see. Mungia. Takeshi.
Nailed it.
Well done, Takeshi's Castle. You got it, Matty. But I can't remember what we were talking about. I was probably rambling as usual. But as for 118, Nakatani's the man as far as I'm concerned. He's got that Maloney business he could clear up as well. Looking down the rankings, I'm not really sure what else he would be going for. So, yeah, let's make your idea happen. I think that's what needs to happen. If not, stick him in with Rodriguez. Isn't he the IBF champion? He was last time I checked. I think he'll get rid of him in pretty short work. So keep them active. That's the main thing. Activity's killing boxing. These guys are active. That's the main thing.
Yeah, and Andy, while we talk about other things and focus sits other places in boxing, I'm looking at this, and I mean, there's revenge for brothers, there's compare and contrast, there's a super fight like I don't know that they've ever seen in Japan, waiting at the end of this tunnel if he can navigate his way through. For me, I officially think the most interesting thing happening in boxing is at bantamweight and junior featherweight. Are you in agreement possibly at this moment?
Yeah, I probably agree with you in that regard. I mean, nothing's really happening. We all know the heavyweights stagnated. Super middleweights, there's nothing really happening. Welterweights basically done and finished because of what's happened with Crawford.
Well, yeah, and Canelo holding all the belts at 168
is
keeping a lot of good fights from happening because everyone's waiting out on the Canelo sweepstakes. When there's a little bit of talent in that division, I think it's pretty underrated.
Yeah, true. But just back to the matter at hand. Yeah, I take your point, but obviously as well as you're hoping for a lot of things to kind of fall into place. The ideal scenario would be for Nakatani and Tamuki Inoue to fight next. Obviously, that'd be the ideal thing. I was just checking it up actually, just to kind of make sure. I was right actually, but I believe there's only been one in the entire history of the sport, one all Japanese unification fight. And that was in 2012 between Kazuto Ioka and Akira Higashi. I'm pretty certain.
Are you talking for all the marbles? Because I think Tanaka.
Oh, see, this
and Ioka...
this was before the IBF and the WBO were recognised by the JBC, right? And I don't think there's ever been an all Japanese showdown with the 4 belts on the line, champion versus champion, so to speak. There's never been, I don't think, unless I'm totally wrong, and I just can't think of anything off the top of my head just now. But
not for the 4 belts. I remember,
Nope.
didn't Kenshiro unify with somebody, but they only had a belt apiece, wasn't that a few years
Yeah.
ago? Do you remember before? I think it was before he lost.
Well,
But,
yeah, and I thought Ioka and Tanaka both had belts on the line. I thought, didn't Yagashi and Ioka fight when they both had belts on the line?
Kenshiro's only got the 2 belts.
Yeah, not for the 4. No, I don't think
Nope.
that's been done now.
Wasn't Ioka Yagashi potentially for everything at 105, or was that just a
No,
couple
it was
belts?
it was WBA, WBC, because that's what I'm saying. That was the first ever all Japanese unification fight. One person had the WBA, one had the WBC. That was the first ever unification fight, as I says, but there's never been one since, I don't think, and there's never been one for the 4 belts.
Wow. Well, and I mean, what I find crazy is if you think right now, and I mean, obviously Ioka's on his way out, but even though I didn't have a chance to watch the fight, you have Tanaka floating around there. I mean, so you have Naoya Inoue, you have Junto Nakatani, you have Kazuto Ioka, and then you have Tanaka. All 4 of those are arguably top 25 pound for pound guys. That's pretty freaking incredible.
And Tanaka showed his again. He has got that ability in him to actually box through an entire fight, no going like face first with his defence and that. Could question the opponent who maybe couldn't throw a straight right hand properly, but other than that, he got the job done. So you can expect picks up the belt as well. So I don't know if I would put him in the mix, to be fair, mate. I think Tanaka's got a very short shelf life. I don't think he hangs with likes of Nakatani. Absolutely no chance. They get eviscerated, honestly.
No, I think that he's going to be more of a fan-friendly action fighter, like you said, with a short shelf life. But he's entertaining right now while it lasts, that's for sure. But it's fun to watch this. Now, when it comes to the younger, in a way, I believe last night, isn't he the younger brother? Why is his first name slipping?
Yeah, Takuma.
Takuma.
Yeah, he is.
Takuma.
Yeah.
So he showed some great boxing ability. Now, Steve, and that fight, I mean, and I thought Nkajas was starting to come on in round 7 and 8, funny enough. And then he just sank those 2 consecutive right hands to the body, and Nkajas was done. Definitely good work. Now, I'm kind of curious. I think if I'm thinking of this stuff and I'm, borderline retarded, you'd have to think these people in Japan that are making the money off of boxing, they're thinking kind of the same way that I am. So do you think that rather than saying Nakatani goes around and tries to pick up, 3 other belts in 3 fights, do you think it's possible we see another card with both of them on it, with one of them against Rodriguez, one of them against Maloney?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. I never thought about that. That would be a good way of tidying things up and adding a bit of intrigue as well
One
towards
less fight,
yeah.
one less chance of some fucked up thing getting in the way.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. I like that actually. And Inoue, I was sort of going through the motions when I was looking at the prediction league because it was on Joe Kennedy's prediction league shout out, and I was thinking, Ankias, he might give him a good fight here. And then I thought, nah, I think Inoue will win. I thought, I wonder if he'll stop him. And I looked, he only had 4 or 5 stoppages, and I thought Inoue on points was what I went for in the end, completely neglecting the fact that he was going to unleash that hellacious body shot on him. But Ankias looked pretty big. I know someone was suggesting online that he might be on the roids, but I mean, you wouldn't know these days. Japan's pretty shit hot with all the titles on the line as well on that kind of thing. So, but Ankias, they were talking about he's had a tough. I remember him coming on the way up and kind of had a couple of upset wins. And then, as I said, I saw him fight Jamie Conlon in Belfast, and he was on a big upward trajectory. And then he bumped into that. I think it was that Martinez, wasn't it, who took the title off him in the end? And it's been downhill since. But they were saying on the commentary on the weekend that he was sleeping in the gym and all, and he's had a pretty rough life. So I kind of felt sorry for him. But yeah, as for Inoue, lovely finish. And your idea, I'm on board with that, Matty. Let's get the titles all squared up. Have 2 fighters with 2 belts and then put them all in together. Hopefully it's the 2 Japanese guys. No disrespect to Rodriguez and Maloney, but we've seen them before. I think they even fought each other at one point. So let's get these titles unified. We're in the era of unifications, the 4 belt era. So let's make it happen.
Yeah, and I mean, what would be incredible is if you get that knocked out, the next fight's all the belts, if the sanctioning bodies let it go through. And you could potentially see Nakatani, if he was victorious, which for the purposes of boxing, I'd like to see, because Inoue is not going to fight Inoue, I don't think. So get Nakatani gets to go and try to do what Inoue did, and have unified the belts at 118 and 122, and do it in those 2 consecutive fights. What a huge fight it would be. Obviously, you have to favor the monster. But man, we'll see. When you got dynamite in the left hand like you do, like Nakatani, I mean, anything's on the table.
Yeah, it's in boxing's interest for Nakatani to keep on winning and keep on looking good. I mean, he has his flaws. You mentioned as well about leaning over, and the fact he's so big will open him up to body shots and getting caught by people. He's not without flaws, but the way he fights with the aggression, the way he dominated a world champion like Santiago, who had taken his licks, beaten Donaire, as I said. For Nakatani to keep winning, I think that's better for boxing. Let him keep smashing people to bits and moving up the weight. So I would love to see that. The guys like Rodriguez, Maloney's of this world, they've had their chance now. I want to see Nakatani winning.
Absolutely. I am definitely aboard the Nakatani train. The guy is something else. We touched a bit on the undercard there. Andy, why don't you go ahead and get your say in on the younger Inoue and his victory, and also Tanaka, and then we can move on.
Yeah, well, I think that's basically the end of Cajas, to be fair, at world level. You might get a call at some point, maybe to kind of fill in possibly. But as we mentioned last week, it has been a kind of lackluster reign when he was champion, and I just thought he looked kind of like not so much washed, but he just certainly worn out anyway. As I said, I was really impressed with Inoue. I really liked his aggression in that, and he had really Cajas kind of backing up. What else we have? Tanaka, as I mentioned, I think he, again, as I mentioned, he can show that he can box. He isn't always a front face slugger, and if it's the same guy, that Jonas Sultan we got iced in 1 round against that 3-1 Japanese guy was Jonas Sultan. I'm pretty certain he's ranked somewhere in the top 10 in one of the ranking bodies. If someone's maybe
Sultan's a decent fighter. Taking him out in a round is a hell of a statement, honestly.
It's bantamweight, I think it is 118.
Sultan was the guy, Andy, I think. Do you remember Paul Butler picked up that kind of interim or vacant WBO title, which he then went and sold to Inoue, basically at the end of 23 or 22. I think it was the end of 22. Do you remember? Yeah, I think, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it Sultan who Butler beat for that title, I think?
Possibly.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'm just trying to see actually if I've maybe even got if I even seen the knockout in that. I'm just flicking through
it. Was a body shot. No one's done that to him before. Fair play to that Masuda. It was kind of make and break for him. And the fact they're putting him in against someone, as you said, who's ranked possibly top 10 by one of the bodies. I don't know the background of Masuda. I can only assume he was some kind of standout amateur or something who's come along, fought for the Japanese title, which is a good belt, like the British title, basically. In his 4th fight, got beaten very closely over 10 rounds. They've thrown him in with Sultan. No, they're not messing about with this Masuda, and he fairly delivered the goods.
I'm just going to see if I can give you more information on him, actually, because just seeing that he was WBO, Sultan was ranked with the number 6 he was. So I just want to see if maybe Asian Boxing had a wee bit up on him, a wee bit of profiles, because you're right, Steve, it's just... That's an impressive one, actually, to be fair. When you go, Matty, I've not got anything else to add just now, mate, but I've just trying to see if I can get any information on this.
I do quickly, Matty, just before we move on, actually. I think the Tanaka fight, I was talking to MB about it there in the chat, actually. I think that was actually a really good fight. That Bakaswager, I didn't know what to expect from him, but he was tough. He was a tough bastard, he was. He came forward. His engine was there. He was throwing shots from the beginning right till the end. He started to slow in the middle rounds, I think, once Tanaka got the range on him and started landing those body shots. And Tanaka, he resisted the opportunity to stand inside. His head movement was good. His body shots, as I said, were very good. He threw compact on the inside. Looks like he's learned from Ioka. Found his space really well. The knockdown was a little bit harsh in the 8th round, but I thought that Bakaswager was happy to take it because he was taking a lot of shots at that time. And Tanaka then really hurt him and put it on him down the stretch. And Bakaswager from Mexico, first opportunity at this level. He was outgunned by a better boxer, but he never stopped trying. I thought that was a really well matched. All 3 fights were actually really good, and fair play for them putting these two together. This was if you're going to win a world title, we see guys coming over sometimes and they're not really world class. Tanaka fought a guy who was meant to be there. Like he'd earned his spot and he fought like it was his big chance on the world stage. And that's how you win a world title for Tanaka. I think he would have learned a lot from that.
Absolutely, it's you pick it all up as you go and get better along the way, hopefully. And speaking of, that's a very odd segue. I got to say, ladies and gentlemen, that I kind of thought Edgar Berlanga looked good last night in taking out Patrick McCrory in 6 rounds. Took a little while for it to start warming up, but he showed better timing, a better arsenal of punches, and a little bit of patience. He was dirty still. I still think that you can get in his head, throwing some elbows, doing some dirty shit, but ultimately getting to McCrory in the end. Steve, I thought breaking that 5-fight streak without a knockout, this Berlanga looked better. I kind of feel bad about being so dismissive about him because I think there is something there, even though I'd probably favor him in the Munguia fight that kind of gets thrown around. I still think he's quite live in that one.
You think Berlanga, if they were to fight next week, Berlanga Munguia, you would pick Berlanga? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think he's live. I'd still take Munguia, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I think Belanga's live, but he's live against anyone given his punch power and his erraticism. But I think, as you mentioned there, that was exactly what I had in my notes. You can get into his head. I think he goes for spells, he falls asleep. I had a few different thoughts on this, actually. First of all, whenever I spotted referee Christopher Young in the ring at the introductions, I thought, oh, here we go. I've seen him before. He was on Showbox. He's been on Pro Box. He's a terrible referee. I knew Patrick McCrory was going to be up against it. He was. There was Lobos being thrown in. There was a flagrant elbow in about the 3rd round, I think it was, from Berlanga.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The referee split them
flagrant.
up and told McCrory off for holding. So Christopher Young is a terrible referee. That's not the reason Patrick McCrory lost. I said it last week. He can be a little upright at times. His hands drop and his chin rises into the air as he tires in fights. And right from his debut, I was there in the Odyssey. I can't remember what the undercard was, but he's always done that thing where he steps across with the right hand and he squares up. He's always done that. And I thought that's going to get him in trouble because Belanga's going to time him with the left hook to head or body. And he did after a while. I thought McCrory acquitted himself really well. He went out swinging. Berlanga was very patient, and they are trying to nail up the Canelo fight next. Eddie Hearn, as I was saying to Dominic earlier, has this line, well, these 2 words that he keeps on coming off with all the time. I believe. Eddie's a believer. He's manifesting these fights. He's putting them into the ether. I believe that we will see Canelo versus Berlanga at the end of the year, he says. I'll believe it when I see it. More chance of Canelo versus Munguia, I think. I would pick Munguia against Berlanga if they were to fight. I think Berlanga is now in line for Morel. I think that was they were saying WBA kind of eliminator, so that would be a nice one.
Well, they say it's for Canelo, but yeah, they could just say it's for the regular. Who knows what fuckery they do.
Yes.
I honestly, Steve, if Berlanga did get a Canelo shot, I shit you not, I think that fight ends in a DQ.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think they'd make it too, because Belanga's unbeaten. He has the reputation now, and he has the backing and the kind of brand. And you put in Mexico against Puerto Rico.
Exactly.
It's a win-win for Canelo. You would take that all day, and I would not be surprised. I think that's a great shout. That he would get disqualified, he'd get frustrated. Canelo would be bopping him all night until he got stopped or got out of there. They might build up a fight with Diego Pacheco even.
And the referee is going to protect, the fucking cash cow of the sport. They're not going to be fucking warning Berlanga about a clinch where he throws, or warning Canelo about clinching when Berlanga threw an elbow in the clinch. It's not going to go down that way.
They might draft in Christopher Young or something. I was thinking earlier, because Eddie has Diego Pacheco, that's a possibility, but I don't think they'll do anything like that. I think Berlanga now, they're building him, they're keeping him just ticking over, just gently simmering to try and cash him out in a big fight, because Eddie's not stupid. He'll see what we all see. They'll look to cash him out against somebody big, putting him in against a Pacheco or a fringe guy. People talking about Plant, no chance. Those guys would beat him. He's not good enough. They're going to try and boil him up as best as they can and put him in against somebody else now.
I could see Plant as another DQ just because he's too cute. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I wonder why. We've seen Berlanga now. He has trouble outside of the ring. You know, he's a dangerous guy. He's changed his trainers before. I think he was with Andre Rosier. He's gone back to his original trainer. He turned from this exciting first-round KO artist who was the name on everybody's lips to this kind of gun-shy pseudo boxer who seems to be devoid of all confidence. And in the Quigley fight in the last round, he showed that he had a decent engine. He could still hurt you late on. But I don't know what they're going to do with him. I think they should just say, look, just go balls to the wall, man, and just go and blast people out. This standing off trying to box people is not winning any fans. It's not impressing Wellington anyway. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but I believe...
He needed that knockout last night.
Definitely.
He very much needed it.
He had to knock him out. He couldn't have gone the distance with him after the last few performances. If you don't stand in front of him, you give him trouble. So I believe that Eddie will sort him out. Whether he'll fight Canelo or not, I don't know. But if I was Canelo, I'd be absolutely shouting from the rooftops for that fight because it makes all the sense in the world as far as he's concerned.
Well, I would love to hear Eddie shout, I believe, for the rooftops, because that means he'd be a religious man, eh? I believe! I believe!
Hey, let me say real quick that I hate to digress on something we already talked about regarding the refs. What the fuck were they thinking in Japan to pay money to fly Lawrence Cole over? Like, isn't that like paying to fly a blind person out to judge a beauty contest? What the fuck were they thinking?
And some random Italian, they drafted him for one of them who I'd never heard of.
He left his wig on the plane, but looks at it as well.
Aye. But anyhow, let's see here. So who do we got in here under the name Quote beats Thurman underneath?
How do we dish out birthday beats through the internet, Matty?
What's that?
How do we dish out birthday beats? You know what birthday beats is?
What the fuck is a
birthday beatings for you, Matty? That's what you do in school, innit? How old are you, Matty?
39.
There you go, 39 birthday beats, Ames.
Not too old for birthday beats, and if I could, I'd get the Goat herself to step in my stead. I know she's over that sort of region of the world, so she can come in and give you a few on the arms, Matty.
I don't know. Don't you think she'd rather have a go at Sonny Edwards?
Well, maybe Thurman, by the looks of it. It seems like she's targeting Keith, and off of the last display, she's conquering all worlds now, Matty.
What the... Yeah, she had the Quote had an MMA fight yesterday where she won, but apparently she was in an armbar for about 40 seconds. I think if you're a boxer, having your arm in a position where it could be broken for around 40 seconds is probably not a good thing for your boxing career. But
I thought it was a moment of real heroinism. Is that what you'd say here? Yeah, heroinism of the Quote climbing off the canvas and getting the victory. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, she is all things to all people. You know, clearly close to the Muhammad Ali of her generation. Am I wrong?
No, not wrong at all. She was supposed to fight, I think, Layla Ali at one point, weren't she? But that never materialized.
Put her in with Nico Ali.
Really?
That's what I say.
I think they were supposed to do negotiations back in a few years back, I remember. But yeah, I don't think she was saying that Layla Ali didn't want any of the smoke. And I can understand why when she's you wouldn't want the Goat staring at you on the opposite side of the corner, Matt. She's quite imposing.
Well, isn't Layla Ali probably like 45 or 50? I mean, as of 5 years ago, say?
Probably, yeah. It was, but there were some whispers around it, yeah.
Huh. That would have been weird. Huh.
You could wish it for your next birthday or this birthday wish. You could use it.
Yeah. And I would like to thank my girlfriend Sydney for throwing in a $9.99 super chat, and she says happy birthday to me. So thank you very much. Keep my girlfriend keeping the lights on.
Isn't that your money?
What's that?
Is that not your money?
No, she makes more money than I do. That's all her fucking money. She can do with it what she wants. If she wants to give it to Steve for goat food, that's her business.
A real libertarian you are, Matty.
Very much so. Very much so. So anyways, we're on Berlanga. Andy, what was your 5x speed take of Edgar Berlanga from last night?
Pretty much what we said last week, mate. Take your point, a couple of stray elbows, naughty. Take everything that Steve said as well as he's at his ceiling. Hasn't really been much improvements. Once he started finding the power shots, McCrory just seemed to pretty much unravel the wee bit, to be fair. And then obviously the big right hand just found it through the guard and dropped him pretty heavily, and that was the end of it. So not really much we can learn from it, to be fair, actually. I just want to see him, if he is what he is, then put him in a big fight. Put him in with Benavidez and let's see it. Because I'm kind of fed up with these kind of like so-called holding fights that we're getting these days. Now I want to see meaningful fights, no this type of fight. So anyway, we'll move on.
Wow, you have many. You're very unimpressed. I appreciate that. So we already talked about the Japanese card. Feel free to touch on that if you want to, but also Berlanga as well. That's as far as we've gotten at this point in time.
Oh, is it me, Matty?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I passed on the Japanese card. I didn't get around to it, and I saw bits of Zone's offering last night. I'll just go straight to the main event with Berlanga. Again, copy everything what Steve and Andy said. I think there were whispers before in the fight week that when it came to McCrory's side of the equation, his hands, his best asset were in bits. And that was, what he was looking to land, really, the big chopping, big shots on Berlanga to possibly, we've seen the flaws in the past of Berlanga being open and susceptible to being hit. I don't think he can afford to be hitting the canvas again against the likes of who he has done, especially McCrory, who hasn't really done it to any real higher level. So I think that's probably part in as to why Berlanga doesn't really go full kind of for it. But yeah, so with that, or hearing those sort of things, it seemed like it was much bigger of an uphill task for Poddy, taking his best asset away. And then I spoke to Berlanga in the week as well, and I think he acknowledges as well that with respect to people like Poddy, he's just not on his level. He shouldn't be contending with fighters below him at this point and should be in those big fights, but I don't think he's going to get it right now. I think what likely would have happened had John Ryder gone 12 rounds with Munguia, he would have probably been in one last fight with the likes of Pacheco and the likes of Berlanga as one last payday. And it's just, that one little rub for the young guy coming up to have finished off John Ryder. But as it was, Munguia did that, and he got that kind of little bit from it. Not that he needed it, but one of those two could have used that name on their resume. But otherwise,
I tell you, dude, I just get this hunch because of his style and the fact that he does stay pretty active, and he is what he is, but he's a puncher with good volume. But I think Jaime Munguia is going to get a really good win at some point in his career. He's just going to be in the right place at the right time, and I think there's more. There's more to Jaime Munguia than there is to Edgar Berlanga. I would say, maybe both to some degree hype jobs, but I do think that Munguia is actually a real player at 168, where I think Berlanga would end up being more of a gatekeeper. Just my opinion.
And who would that win be? I'd probably maybe fancy him against the likes of maybe Caleb Plant, who could probably tie down the stretch where Munguia kind of pushes on forward.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Canelo, unless he really loses a step, I still think he'd have too much for him. I think the likes of Morel and others are too good for him as well too. So I could only really pick maybe. Come.
I wouldn't take him against Canelo if he was the opponent in May, but I would take Munguia if he was Canelo's opponent in September of next year.
Well, you just think age is creeping in on Canelo now?
A little bit more experience on the good end for Munguia, a little bit of loss of reflex, loss of speed on Canelo's part. I think there's and that's like that perfect time I'm talking about. There's just be a moment where they bypass, and if he gets that shot, I wouldn't be surprised to see him build a name off of it. But I would rather see Benavidez get it, because I think Benavidez is more deserving of that torch. Again, my opinion.
Does Canelo want to give it to either of them? Because isn't it
he
right
ain't
that Canelo doesn't
shit.
want to fight?
He's not giving shit to anyone. He's not going to give shit to anyone. Canelo, and the thing about it is, he's either going to retire with it, or
payday.
Well, I mean,
it's not just that though. He says he doesn't want to fight a Mexican, right?
Yeah,
he fought Chavez, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's say there's three different options here. Let's say Canelo either hands over his crown by fighting one of them, or Canelo just retires without ever facing any of them, and just basically takes his wealth and his riches into retirement, or one of them gets a chance and he beats him. What do you think's more likely?
I think most likely retires. It doesn't fight. I think for me, taking your date of September of next year, I think Canelo's still really smart and still has a load of power in him to catch someone like Munguia coming in, rushing forward. That Derevanchenko fight was a brilliant fight. What was it, the start last year? And he kind of exposed again the flaws of Munguia. And I think Canelo's still got much more life in him, even to the tail end of next year. If there were the two of them to me, I think it's more likely that he'll retire before he does. I know that there's an offer on the table now for Benavidez. That's more likely out of Munguia and Benavidez, but I still wouldn't put it past Canelo to not fight either of them. And I kind of sort of get it in a way as well too, because passing that crown over, it's a pretty heavy crown to bear in the sense of what has really Munguia done, specifically talking about Munguia in his resume. Coming up, I know that Canelo caught quite a few names and things like that on his way up, and that's kind of the nature of the game. But his isn't to the nature of what Canelo was doing up there. Sorry, when he was on the come up. So is he that star that Mexico and that region might need? I don't think he is. Benavidez maybe a little bit more so as well too. He's starting to put a few names together with his resume, but he's moving up to like heavyweight now, and he might miss out on Bivol and Beterbiev, and maybe that's the right timing actually, considering missing out on those two fights. But those are still two big fights that you'd want.
Well, what is it to basically offer him a junk fucking title against Vosdick if he moves up? It's such a fucking dumb fight. And I'll tell you, it's a shame because if you think about it, like, and you know, it's just interesting when they happen to be around the same weight classes and the handoff works. But you know, in the past, like these things have kind of gone all, you know, like willingly. Like Chavez fought De La Hoya not once but twice and kind of handed the torch to him. And then I think by De La Hoya fighting Pacquiao in its own weird way, I think it handed off the torch in a sense to Marquez.
We're in a different
point in time.
We're in a different generation, Matty. We're in a different generation, Matty. There was no handover between Canelo and Mayweather. They fought each other, but there was no handover.
Yeah, I'm talking more just the straight Mexican-American side of things. Because I think there's the torchbearer for them. And I mean, and then you have it on the side, and I guess to the Mexicans themselves, I think, you know, people were either a Barrera or a Morales person. But you know, but that was, you know, had something to do with the fact that De La Hoya was a Mexican American, so they didn't give him credit on that. But you know, here is Canelo with that chance to either have a great victory at the end of his career with one of these guys to really, really close it out, or to hand off the torch the way that Chavez did with De La Hoya. And for him to balk at that is really sad. Now, what I think would be a cool thing, you're saying, especially for Canelo, and let's kind of weave this. I'm sorry for jumping around here. Canelo is trying to get Charlo for $35 million, and they're like, no, we don't want to pay you $35 million to fight the other fucking Charlo who had been out of the ring for 2.5 years before his last fight against a guy who's a former welterweight. So what Canelo has on this one is maybe he can get that fight if he can say to the people that need to fucking make this happen and to the fighters themselves, if you give me Benavidez against Munguia on the undercard to help boost my numbers on this fight and make this deal for me to get my big payday, you'll get the next one. Fucking, like, it's time to do some fucking business here, people. You know, you to quit fucking off and fighting Charlos. Like, fuck them.
I don't think, Matty, that Canelo will be interested in passing the torch to anybody, and he'll be weighing that up in his mind. If he chooses any of them to fight, I think he'll go Charlo, Berlanga, Munguia, guys like that. He'll not want to risk. It'd be interesting to see where his mindset's at, his risk takings at the end of his career, because really, he should be thinking, right, Benavidez, never mind passing the torch. He's going to be my one last win. The guy at the end that they're saying is going to beat me. I'll go out and beat him. Forget about passing the torch. I'm going to retire after beating Benavidez. If his mindset's there, great. But I think it'll be more like, what if I lose to him? I don't want to pass the torch. Is Benavidez even a true Mexican? All these kind of debates are going to come up, and he'll not
Yeah,
want
what
to
is
risk
he?
losing to him.
He's like half Ecuadorian or something.
Yeah, and he's from Arizona. Wasn't he born? I don't know if he's born in Mexico or he's lived in Arizona or some bollocks.
Arizona.
We don't care about that type of stuff, but apparently a large portion of the internet seems to care about that type of bollocks. But yeah, I think Canelo would be interesting to see where his risk reward and where his mentality and his mindset's at the moment, as to whether he takes the Benavidez fight or not.
The passing of the torch was meant to happen between Canelo and Garcia, both at the same gym, both on the rise at the time. Still could happen in its own sort of way with Garcia, with his own following, but that sort of relationship is kind of fractured now, has it? I don't know where it stands right now, but at least last when there was a bit of a fallout between the two of them. But that for me seemed like the natural kind of passing of the torch with someone of that sort of background. But Ryan Garcia seems to have fumbled it a little bit. He's still taking some decent fights, so hopefully that Haney fight gets over the line and such. But that was what for me.
Ryan is too American. He is too American for that torch. He like for what Vargas was trying to say about De La Hoya, what he said about De La Hoya, I would say Ryan Garcia actually is. I don't know. For people don't remember that one, I'm sure you do, Steve. That the build up to De La Hoya and Vargas calling him like a fake Mexican and shit like that is.
I do.
Dude, and it's a shame. I'll tell you what was a shame that they were past their best.
Beat that ass,
dude. That was, but it was a brutal fight, man. Vargas had his moments in that one. He fucking caught him a few good times.
I was gutted. I loved Vargas, and it was all based off the sparring story, wasn't it? When they went out running together, and didn't De La Hoya nudge Vargas or saw him fall down a slope and laughed at him and refused to help him? Wasn't that the story at the time? And Vargas hated him ever since.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. And but just he was a world-class shit talker, man. It was in some absolute wars. But I tell you, it's a shame he was past his best and at such a high, and it was at a weird weight when he fought Ricardo Mayorga, because pound for pound, that was like one of the best shit talking buildups ever. But I mean, Mayorga just kind of beat the snot out of him, and it's a shame that the fight didn't live up to the.
Yeah, not to digress too much, but we had a question a few weeks. Well, not a question, but a few weeks ago, somebody put something on Twitter, and I clipped it and then lost it, as I tend to do, about someone compared Vargas to Ryan Garcia or something at this stage of their career, and I thought that's a terrible comparison. By 21, Vargas had hadn't he beat Ike Corte, Ronald Rinky Wright, Raul Marquez, Yuri Boy Campas, IBF world champion? You know, Garcia, has he even won a world title? I think he might have won a fringe belt at one point.
I thought he had a belt at 135 for some reason. I can't remember why, but maybe not.
Possibly.
Because wasn't it him and Tank at 136, so nobody's belts were on the line?
When he fought Campbell, was there like a WBA or something? Someone in the chat can probably remind us. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're correct on that one. But anyhow, I've managed to just ADD the whole living
well
shit.
Done. No, that was good work from you.
Yeah, see, there's not a whole lot going on. We got to go somewhere, and I thought there were some reasonable segues to be made in there. I have no reasonable segue for Rappin' Rob Kelly, but Rob, we have talked about just the Berlanga fight from the DAZN card and the card from Japan. You can speak about any of those at this point, and we'll get back to where we were.
Well, they're the only two that I saw, really. So I saw the Berlanga-McCrory fight. That kind of went the way I thought it would at the top. I think maybe actually McCrory might have done a little bit better than I thought he would up to a certain point, but I thought he'd fiddle him around and move him about a bit until Berlanga caught up with him. I have to say, Berlanga didn't look great. He was trying to sell it afterwards like he was like Floyd. He was like waiting to get my timing down. I don't think he's comparable to Floyd Mayweather, but he's, for all his flaws, he'd be in exciting fights because he's either going to get pasted or he's going to flatten someone along the way. I think there's limitations as to how far he can go, but if Canelo is not going to take the Benavidez fight next, like it's looking like, I always think that's a good fight. Now, I don't know what the story is with the networks there, so I don't know why I'm calling for that fight because I don't know if it can happen or not, but I'd like to see the two of them face off. For him against Munguia be another good fight, and then maybe the winner get a crack at Benavidez or Canelo. But I think that'll be an action-packed, fun fight. Well, I won't say action-packed, but it'll be a fun fight. And two similar styles, lads that are going to come together. So Berlanga was knocking a lot of people out. He showed he still has the power. It was a good shot that he caught McCrory with. But a kind of an expected result there. And then in the Japanese card, I saw Ankayas and Inoue. which was a good fight. And Caius kind of had a purple patch in it when they started the trade. It looked like he was getting to him, and then got caught with a body shot that looked like a fucking vicious one, like as well. And there was no way he was beating the count. So decent-ish two main card fights there anyway for kind of weekend that was a bit thin on the ground. So.
Yeah, it was good. Make sure you catch up on the Nakatani fight there. We were definitely talking about an interesting path for him on his journey for that great left-handed puncher. Further down the Berlanga card, let's go for Andy. Andy Cruz picking up the third victory of his career over Brian Zamaripa. Finishing off a parlay I had Berlanga by knockout, and this fight to go over 7.5 rounds, Andy. It looked like Cruz was going to take him out multiple times, but Zamaripa's a tough guy. He knew how to survive, and I really think this is just another good win on the progression of the pro career of Cruz after, is such an amateur background that he has. Obviously 1, 2, maybe 3 fights away from a real title shot here. But we got to see him challenged. We just don't know at what level a challenge will actually arise for this guy.
Yeah, I agree with all that, to be fair, mate. Done it all his own way. I think the only thing really he's lacking is just that game-changing power, really. He's got all the skills and offensive output and that type of thing. But I would imagine if he's ever put under pressure, he'll just do what the usual Cubans do. They'll just go back in the amateur program. They'll go on the back foot. They'll just use the ring, go lateral movement, and then they'll start to try and get themselves back into the fight that way. Again, it will probably come down to levels, in terms of when he gets his test. They're talking Keyshawn Davis already. I think it's clear, actually. It's down to both camps. It's down to both fighters if they really want it.
I don't know. I think Aram is probably the least likely promoter to be working with some of these guys. I don't know.
Well, what's he going to do with Davis, really? I mean, what's his options, really?
Putting him with Lopez, maybe?
Well, he's, Stevenson, is he really retired or is he back? Who knows what the fuck's going on there?
Shakur's not fucking retired. That's a joke.
Man, he's finished.
Yeah. I like the idea of the two of them fighting, but I don't see it being made just because the people around them are both going to say, why the fuck is this fight not for a title? Like, one of them is going to have something on the line before they fight. They're not going to fight at this stage in their career without one of them having something to bring to the table, I think. So I know Davis is looking for Lopez, isn't it? So I wouldn't be surprised if Aram just throws the two of them in together, like, to see what happens. Like,
just a final on Cruz, Matty. I'll just pass up to everybody else. I think he's top level. Maybe just hasn't got the top level power, but definitely being fast tracked. He must be pushing 30 now. So I just think they'll try and push it. I'd love to see the Davis fight. I'd love to see him in tough fights immediately, actually, because I says if that is what they're pushing for at this point, then I'd love to see it. But
I kind of feel, Andy, like his punching power is kind of like on the range
okay.
of. I think it's about. Well, I was gonna say it's about like Erislandy Lara would be a fair comparison. I just think that Cruz has more punches in his arsenal than Lara does.
Yeah, probably. It might also be down to his style. Maybe he needs to kind of like sit down the punches a little bit more than that as well. But we'll wait and see. But see, everything else about him is quality, to be fair. Foot movement, good jab. So just that wee bit of lack of power. Just start that one. Just totally change it for him when you maybe really need it if you're ever in trouble. But you just never know. You might uncork it at some point.
When you're that sharp of a puncher, you don't necessarily have to have the biggest punch to find the right shot.
True enough, and that as well. Listen, he might be one of those fighters where he doesn't even need the big shot. A guy like Ward, Floyd, guys who can box themselves, Rigondo, guys who can box themselves around the ring for 12 rounds and that, and just like guys like Pep,
Rigo had a big shot. He just fucking wouldn't throw it that often.
Yeah, exactly. I open off one big
that
shot.
That was the frustrating thing, wasn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, big time.
No, I think that honestly that left hand he uncorked on Donaire in the 12th round was probably the best shot anyone had landed on Donaire in his career up to that point.
Took Nanito to school that day. Took a lot of us to fucking to sleep as well. Cracking with that one. He's running now at this stage. Come on, he's running. But yeah, no, like Rigo could punch, I think, but he just didn't engage. But I like this Cruz guy too. I think I agree with both of you. Like, he hasn't got devastating power, but his, like Matty says, his punches are so sharp. He's going to knock out a lot of guys with shots they don't see, and just pure technique, the way he turns his hands over and everything. He is the biz. Like, and the guy is a survivor or whatever. So I only saw just the fucking highlight roundup of that. But anything I've seen of Cruz so far, like, he looks like he could give any of them a fight now. But it's just like with these Olympians guys that they try to fast track. Like, really, Lama and Rigo were the only two that kind of ever worked with, wasn't it? Like,
he is the real deal, though, mate. To be, I think he's
won
every
definitely.
single amateur tournament he's ever actually entered for, like gold medalist for everything he's been into, possibly.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, he's ready for them all now. But I just think, like, we've seen him with Rigo, where they kind of fast tracked him, and Loma, they definitely fast tracked him. But we haven't seen anybody like with an impetus to see these guys. Do you know, because everybody's going to have to fucking there's going to have to be a bit of bandwidth moved around in order for Andy Cruz to get a shot. Like, he's in the Who Wants Him club, like, isn't he? Like,
exactly. The thing is, it's a bit like Floyd. Floyd found that niche. Floyd was he played up to that shithouse persona. I doubt Cruz is going to be able to do that to kind of draw in some extra money and everything and that. He is basically that equivalent as, like, who needs him, and you can switch stances and that as well. I was noticing there last night as well. So he's got everything about him. Just hasn't got that pizzazz. It's like worth taking the risk for. Doesn't got that payday.
The guys in and around that division are not going to fucking risk they're going in against him. Like, he's a tough fight now. Like, they're going to put him on the long finger. Like, I
would give Eddie a lot of respect if he's able to pull off some high end fights, because it's going to be a hard sell. And I think you see what Bob had with Rigo, with Bob's contacts and his experience in the sport. He couldn't shift Rigo, to a big market. So if Eddie can do it with Cruz somehow,
even Loma, to a degree, Loma should have been a much bigger crossover star. He spoke English and that, and he kind of he got more coverage definitely than Rigo. Like, he definitely got more of the limelight and that, but he didn't. And as good as he was, like, and he never kind of hit the heights of stardom that I would have expected him to. Not that matters a fuck, but you get what I'm saying in terms of making big fights. Like,
so I'm not saying I agree with them, and these rankings are going to change because there's some fights that are happening soon. I think some guys are going to drop out here. These are the current rankings for the ring at 135 pounds. They're top 10. Like I said, I don't necessarily know if I agree with them. Vasily Lomachenko, number 1. Gervonta Davis, 2. Isaac Cruz, 3. Isaac Cruz is going to be fighting Rolando Romero at 140 pounds. Number 4, Shakur Stevenson. They appear to not believe he's retired. Number 5, William Zepeda. Number 6, Frank Martin, who is rumored to be fighting Gervonta Davis. Number 7, Raymond Murataya. Number 8, George Kambosos, who will probably drop off after losing to Lomachenko, as I expect. Number 9, Maxie Hughes, good fighter. Expect him to drop off after he loses to William Zepeda, as I expect. And number 10, Keyshawn Davis. And I mean, there's some names that aren't on that list, obviously, that potentially that have a lot of potential, but you got a very, very stacked division there and a lot of very interesting fights potentially.
And people with different promoters, all the political aspects. It'd be interesting to see what Eddie does with him. I'll just say my 2 pence worth quickly, Matty, before we move on. I thought he looked huge size-wise. I know we're talking about, 135 is he competing at the moment? Yeah. He looked at least a 140 guy. He looks world-class already, I think. Just needs those box tickers now, which I drone on about regularly. Chin, stamina, power at the highest level. Zamarripa, he was tough as old boots. These Cubans, as Andy mentioned, do tend to step off and let people off the hook. At the end, I was hoping round 8, 9, 10, he might do a little face plant finisher, but seems like his engine was kind of wearing down at that point. If he can add the extra explosivity and just move up in gears and not box, sort of add the KOs to his arsenal, I think he'd be absolutely very difficult to beat. As for fighting guys like Keyshawn, that ain't going to happen. No chance in hell. Aram and Hearn come together for 12-0 against 3-0. It just makes absolutely no sense in this game. But yeah, he's a big guy, Cruz. If they can boil him down to lightweight, there's some exciting fights. But how long he can stay there is another matter.
I see Cruz was sparring with Boots Ennis for this camp. Is he training with?
Yeah, he's training under Bozy, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, that's where he trains in Philadelphia in the dungeon.
sort of top sparring he's getting
That,
there. And a big dude.
that's a good thing. Got to break some of that Cuban bullshit in a Philly gym. That's a very good gym for him, I think.
That's just on the lightweights, like with Tank and Frank Martin being floated. Like I see a lot of people saying like Frank Martin is a good opponent for Tank, and I agree with that. Like I think Frank Martin is capable of making it an exciting fight because he can probably win some rounds against Gervonta because he's a slow starter. But like, and as big a fan as Tank as I am, and I really am, like he's one of my favorites in the sport. He's been a world champion for 7 years now. Like, and Pedraza is probably the best name on the resume. Where
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, though, he had everything in his fucking. He's a fucking featherweight,
He
wasn't
did.
he? Or
He did. But
bantamweight.
the best name on his resume, just looking at face value, Leo Santa Cruz. You got a
Best-
four
Where they're at
victory
at
is
the
what I mean,
time,
though.
it's either Pedraza or Garcia, surely, where they're at the time.
Yeah, but Garcia then is like, what's Garcia like? Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is he going to turn out to be?
But I
Like,
suppose
he's-
coming in, at least the undefeated, left hook, the gravity of the fight. But in hindsight,
Yeah.
you're right.
it was a fight like. It was intriguing because of the draw it was, wasn't it? Like, Garcia's he's a megastar in his own right, like in a different generation. He was bringing so many eyes to the fight and they were making it a massive event and it was a massive gate and all that. Like, and Tank put in a good performance, but you're looking at from 7 years, like since he kind of beat Pedraza and Walsh, and then it just was like a couple of Floyd undercard fights, like a couple of titles, Mario Barrios, it's just fights he's been expected
That's a
to win.
good
like
win, I think, man. I think that's at 140 pounds too. That's a
Wanna-
good fucking
yeah.
win. Barrios is
But
a
like, I'm
fucking
not
massive
I'm
guy
not
at the weight.
disparaging him. Like, I'm not disparaging Tank or what Tank's. I think Tank is a fucking tremendous fighter. Like, I think he has all the ability, but he's, like I said last week or whatever, he's nearly 30 now. Like, he's got to be fucking into his 30s, and we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him be the top 5 guy in his weight division, I think, since Pedraza, which is kind of, I don't know what that says. It just it doesn't give me any great hope that there's going to.
According to the ring ratings, Isaac Cruz is the top 5 guy in the division that he has W over.
Well, he's a Cruz, okay, but again, that fight came across by accident because Raleigh got fucking suspended due to inappropriate behavior. He was never really supposed to fight him, so that was a kind of accidental value fight. Like, so I don't know. Like, it's not. I don't know if they're protecting him, but. I don't know if it's just all business. It seems to be the LRB and Mayweather way. Like, they're just trying to make as much money as they can and make him a pay-per-view attraction. Like, but against who?
Rob, that's the thing, man. They don't need to.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like,
doing.
like let us see some of these fights now at this stage. Like, you know what I mean? They fucking kept him away. I understand why they kept him away from Lomachenko. Early doors or whatever. Like, obviously he wasn't fucking ready for him. Like, he would have got schooled. But now, like, it's a viable fight now.
No, absolutely.
Haney's a big fight. Fucking any of these guys, like Shakur Stevenson, that's a great fight. Like, so I would like to see him against one of those guys after this Martin fight. He's only fought I think he fought once last year, and he's got this fight hasn't even been announced or fully put out there yet. But it looks like it's going to be Frank Martin. Like, not a bad opponent, but I want to see him in against really, really top guys now. Like, see those fucking exciting fights at that weight. Like, because this same shit is going to happen where all these guys are going to miss each other. Like, if it doesn't happen soon.
Martin's okay, Rob, but then look at his last performance against Hovhannissian, and it almost feels like his stock dropped a little bit. Like, if he had beaten him impressively, I could have said, okay, fair enough. But he feels like he's a man not on the way down. That's too harsh, but he feels like he needs to build his reputation up, Martin, a bit now.
It's going to be it feels like it's just a Tank event, doesn't it? Like, Martin's the B-side. He's there to make Tank fucking fiddle him around for a few rounds until Tank catches up with him, knocks him out, like, and they move on. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, a bit disappointed, to be honest with you. I thought it'd be a bigger name, but it is what it is.
Well, I think we could be upset about the opponent all we want, but I guess that depends on the platform and the cost. If it's a pay-per-view, which I expect it to be, it is a shitty fucking opponent and they can eat my ass.
Oh, it'll be pay-per-view. Every fight will be pay-per-view till he loses now.
Yeah, they can eat my ass. I ain't gonna buy that shit. This is the year of making them give me a damn good event, because this it's getting stupid. But we can go off on that tangent for a long time, or we could talk about Shakram Giasov and Pablo Cesar Cano going 11 rounds until Cano fell and hurt his ankle coming out of a clinch, where he's kind of punching after the bell and Giasov shoved him off. I kind of think Cano kind of asked for what happened.
Wasn't he like massively behind on the cards anyway? They're just fucking, They might as well just let him finish the fight by the time they got it all fucking tatted up.
Yeah, they go into the cards, only giving Kano 1 round. He was also dropped in the 5th round by a good body shot by Giasov that Kano thought was low. I thought it was clean. But
It was a
I
great
did
shot.
think...
Did he say it was low?
Yeah.
That was a great body shot, that was.
I thought so, but Andy,
was it not a follow-up was it not a follow-up hook that he took that was quite low? I noticed Guyasov's chunks were quite high up as well, to be fair. Sorry, Mike, on you go.
But I thought you thought that Kano had a good chance there, and I will tell you that he was coming on, and that was going to be an interesting 12th round, Andy.
Yeah, it was pretty gutty for him.
Yeah, I didn't think the scorecards were that really told the story of the fight by any stretch, because Kano was just, even though he wasn't always working, which I thought was stupid because he kind of let Giasov pick him off at moments in the fight. He was always in front of him, working the body heavily, and I don't know how much Giasov had left to go those last 3 minutes. And fortunately for him, he didn't have to.
It was interesting, actually. It was a bit of a shame, actually, because I thought Kano was doing pretty well. And again, as you said, the scorecards were just a total ill reflection as to how that fight was actually going, to be fair. I thought it was a wee bit closer than that. I don't think I said Kano would win. I did think he would, if he was able to last longer, which was proven to be happening, actually, that he would maybe come into the fight. Even with that body shot, which, by the way, he old-manned it in that, by the way, spat out the gum shield. He got at least 25, 30 seconds out of that before action recommenced and that. So got himself back in it. Was he protecting
serious veteran move there?
Yeah,
it's
protecting his side. He was even blocking shots, and he was trying to kind of then dig in there again, get the guys off. But I don't know if it's like a killer instinct. I don't know if it's a weight issue, but after that, he just kind of petered out. He was happy to kind of do it off the back foot. Maybe the pressure of Kano was a bit of concern. Maybe he did feel a bit of power there, which Kano has got. But based off that as well, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kano basically go back on the road again. He'll beat up the usual Mexican journeyman's next 5, 6, 7 fights, and then he'll reappear mid-tier with some zone card again, get another opportunity in about 18 months, 2 years time if he's still going.
Depends on how bad that ankle is, man. I mean, you never know if that was if it was just like a sprain or something. Who cares? But if he fractured or something like he kind of thought he could be out for a spell, and it's hard to restart at that at that point.
Wait and see. But you see, he's a veteran. He's got these savvy moves, that type of thing. So lesser guys that taking that liver shot, spitting out the gum shield. Not many fighters do that. Some of them might have even, I don't know, he probably would have got up actually, maybe even took a second knee. That's that's that kind of veteran move. But fair play to him. He gave the guy a bit of test. But again, Guyasov, it was just another one. When I was watching the fight, just thinking about the number of Uzbeks that have come through the ranks here. And we're saying like the Uzbeks are coming. They're really are they? I mean, they're not really kind of like stepped up to the plate. None really kind of broke through to superstardom or superstar status or pay-per-view kind of like top-end guy and that. It's just it's a bit bland, to be fair. Jalilov, who I had great hopes for, hasn't really done the business in the pros.
His level of opposition is fucking woeful, man. I keep thinking I'm going to get the call next.
Fucking hell, it's complete shit, man. Who's the other one? The guy doing it like flyweight, your boy Hassan boy does Matt off. For the other one, again. And there's a few others running, but the kind of middler weights. Who's no Guyasov? Who's the other one? Madrimov.
That's
the other one.
That's who I thought Guyasov was. That's nice.
Again, another one. No light the heather on fire. So, yeah. Other than that, it was an okay fight. But as I say, I think we'll leave the best to last, Mike. I'll let the lads kind of come in that fight if they want to.
Steve, feel free to get your piece in on that one, my friend.
Yeah, very little to add to what Andy's already said. I thought the body shot on Kano was class, but he wasn't in the greatest of shape. But he's a puncher, and Guyasov did what he had to do, and nothing really
the
to add.
8th round, Steve. Sorry, I meant to mention.
Yeah.
Sorry, the 8th round was. Do you think Kano should have got a knockdown?
We discussed this off air, didn't we? Didn't he take a shot and then get a nudge? What happened there?
I'm sure he took 2 straight shots. I'm sure, and then I don't know if it was a shot behind the head or just the side of the head.
Yeah,
he ended up in the deck anyway, and it was called a slip.
He caught him with a left hook, and then he was coming around, sweeping right behind it. and he caught him. He didn't even catch him behind the head. He just ended up cuffing him, and then coming back to his body, he just kind of threw Giasov down. So it could have been a knockdown, but I think the only reason he ultimately didn't get a knockdown or more scored out of that sequence is because he ended up cuffing and throwing Giasov to the ground.
I'm laughing at Johnny's comment in the chat that Danny Williams up next for Jalalov.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Probably would be even closer to the truth.
I think as well, Giasov, he got the win. That was the main thing. That was a WBA, excuse me, eliminator. And they're talking about him fighting Stanionis now. If they just get on with the bloody fights, man, inactivity is just killing the sport at the moment. And Giasov against Stanionis, we're going to wait another year for that probably. Stanionis has been out for about nearly 2 years at this point. That would be a really good fight between the two of them. Can Eddie and the PBC get their heads together and make it? Hopefully so.
Really kill my interest in the sport, like just not getting these fights.
I think it's one of the biggest problems at the moment. You talk about drugs, we talk about organisations, sanctioning bodies, all these different problems. I think inactivity and fighters fighting, I'm not saying they need to go and kill themselves for 5-6 times a year like Sugar Ray Robinson and whatnot back in the day, or fighting 20 times a year. I'm not saying that at all, but at least twice would do. Even once in some fighters' cases. Stanionis, Giasov, I tell you, bet you any money it'd be 9-10 months before they even fight, if they even fight at all. These guys have got to fight each other, man. Mediocre fights, Andy, we're waiting for them. Not even the big ones. Just the sort of time-passing fights aren't happening.
That's what I'm saying, mate. You go through that box fight sometimes looking for something, you're like, there's nothing really on there. I mean, I don't know the last time I actually sat and watched a high-end event on a Saturday night. No, actually, Ken, it's been a long time. You know, prime time UK, you know, been a long time.
They just need to get things moving. We wait for so long, and then something comes along, and then we don't see the guys again. Just need to get that momentum going. Get Stanionis, Giasov in, man.
Even like Boots Ennis, Boots Ennis has had his.
Where's he
He's
gone?
been upgraded to champion. We fucking haven't seen him. He's a hide and seek champion. Like, we haven't fucking seen him.
He must have serious legal issues outside the ring in terms of management and contract issues. He must have. For a guy in his, but as you know, he must be mid-20s, eh? He's at the prime, the absolute prime. He's physical.
Yeah.
He's the heir, he's the heir to the guy.
Oh, he's supposed to be.
Welterweights. Like, he's supposed to, exactly. He's the guy that you should want to see. He has everything, it seems. Punch, he's stylish, he's fucking.
But
he's
the problem is, mate, we anointed him literally like almost 2 years ago. We anointed him as like the heir apparent, and we're still waiting for business to happen on the other side. You know, it's not happening at all.
Yes, I think with all the kind of redevelopment and all, with the new network deals and stuff, that's obviously fucking holding up massive fucking amount of fellas' contracts if they're all on that roster, so they have to fucking figure it out. But when you see PBC coming back with like Thurman Zoo and Raleigh in the fucking pitbull, like, it's not, where's the fucking, why is Boots Ennis not, like, why is he not front and center of their assault? Like, I'm wondering, do you know that way? Like, what's the hold up with him? What's the
100% got to be contract, got to be contractual, maybe. Because it just has to be. There's no other reason for it. I mean, as I say, you've got a guy primed, ready to take over. Power, switch hitter, could clearly go up at least a couple of divisions. He's going to be too big for welterweight in the next, if he hangs about for any much longer, possibly. The prime could pass him by, and as I say, he's even picking off the likes of like a Thurman is pointless.
That's why he killed Thurman now, like, and they could have kind of been more active with him and have him beating up these guys on the way to kind of bigger fights. You get me? Like, to use all the 47 pounders or 54 pounders like the Danny Garcias and all that. They could have had all those fights with him, like, and then you'd be thinking, like, surely you cash out one of the Charlos with him eventually. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, the boots is mandatory, Rob, is Cody Crowley, but not I don't want to be one of these sort of go back in the past wankers, but back in 1988 when Michael Nunn won his world title off Frank Tate, in under 2 years he defended against Juan Roldan, Sumbu Kalambai, Iran Barkley, Marlon Starling and Donald Curry before he got knocked out by James Toney. It's night and day, man. Boots barely fighting once a year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing when you're talking about, like, I'm even talking about Tank, like, he's as Ellerby calls him, a major pay-per-view attraction. But that means these days you're lucky if he's out at once every 18 months. Fucking, what are we supposed to talk about? You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy.
Talk about nothing to talk about.
I was just going to say, Mark Stark makes a good point there on that as well. It's getting to a point now where, because the money seems to have dried up, everybody's waiting for that phone call for His Excellency.
Yep.
Come
Yeah.
to Saudi, there it is. And this thing, inactivity is going to get worse. Fighters holding off for the Saudi card slots. Again, it's a lottery, really. You're waiting for that call to give it, and you got to bring value of some sort to get the eyes on this on the event.
It's a lot riding on it. I thought, like, he was. I thought it was a very strange decision to have. I'm going off on a tangent here now, but I thought it was a very strange decision to have AJ fight Ngannou. Like, I can't see the reason behind that fight. Like, it's such a high risk. I still think Joshua beat him or whatever, but like, it's such a fucking risky fight to have him completely. Like, his career will be over if he loses to fucking Francis Ngannou. Like, and then, like, how do these two events go? So there's AJ and Ngannou, and then Fury and Usyk. Like, and you'd expect there to be a ton of fights on those undercards. So if they're like a massive success, those two events, surely he'll go down the weights then and start like making welterweight and lightweight tournaments. He's already made it clear that he wants Haney and Tank in Saudi. So like, if he kind of seems to have the blank checkbook to make these kind of fights happen. So maybe that's what fighters are doing, and their managers, anyone worth their salt, is like, maybe don't take a fight in the Barclays on the undercard. Like, we could get to Saudi Arabia, baby. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, all I'm saying is, if anybody sees Tank's probation officer driving around in a new Rolls Royce, we're getting that fight, and it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. So anyway, let's get further down that card before we end out further into La La Land here. Let's see here. In what was a good fight in kind of a reasonably crazy shit show in some ways, Antonio Vargas getting a 7th round stoppage over Jonathan Rodriguez. Vargas going down in the first round off of a sweeping right hand, I believe, from Rodriguez, only for Rodriguez to get dropped in round 2. But while he was on his knees, Vargas uncorked a freaking left hook on him and had 2 points deducted on him for hitting Rodriguez while he was down. At that point in time, Rodriguez was able to box fairly well, but around mid-5th round, Vargas took over, started laying some shots into Rodriguez, and was able to put him down again in 7. And as I recall, the ref just kind of the corner pulled the plug on it, potentially even. Steve, did you see this particular fight in what I think this might have been the most entertaining fight on the card?
Yeah, I was just about to say probably the fight of the weekend, and I thought, oh, am I forgetting anything? And then I thought, well, who cares at the end of the day? I'll just call it the fight of the weekend competitively. Although Rodriguez, it felt like he was doing his absolute most to kind of cling in there. He had the power and the surprise. I think Vargas is maybe a little bit, not really chinny, but he takes a flush shot. He's defensively irresponsible, probably be the best description. And Rodriguez knew he could catch him at any time, and it was always dangerous. But Vargas was the more skilled of the two, and he was beating the shit out of Rodriguez, which was a shame given his backstory and the fact that he'd been abandoned at like 10 years old or something, and his coach had adopted him legally and taken him on, and he was looking after him, pulled him out after 7, 8, whatever it was. His face was battered. It was like a cut starting to develop around his right eye. Vargas looked really good. I think I picked him by stoppage in the prediction league as well. So, I'm wrestling Holly from top spot. So all round a good weekend on the Vargas Rodriguez train anyway.
Yeah, this card definitely.
So you were used to being behind Holly, and now you're on top of her. Steve,
absolutely. She can't match me for strength.
God, poor Holly doesn't deserve this.
She's got powerful legs.
Poor Holly. We like Holly. She deals with a great bunch of lads, so that makes her a great gal. So, but
Holly
anyhow. Let's see here. Andy, did you have any thoughts on that one? I don't know if you saw that fight.
Yeah, pretty much what Steve was saying, mate. It was a really good fight. Pretty heavy weather. Just wondering, actually, see what you were mentioning about the kid getting knocked down, obviously, and then taking that left hook as he was on his knee, and that. I just wonder if that maybe had a added effect on him, because he never milked it. So fair play to him in that regard, but he had a fair cry that they kind of milked that a little bit. I wonder if maybe damage to the eye possibly as well. The right eye was badly swelling up. But probably the right call, because he was just basically getting walked in toward that end there, to be fair. He was getting the shit beat out of him toward the back half of that. And obviously, again, you see getting dropped there the 7th as well. So probably the right thing to do, mate. It was getting pretty heavy weather for him. So fair play to Vargas. Well, good one for.
Yeah, moves on to 18-1. Interesting guy at bantamweight, probably not championship level, but I bet we'll see him in some other ones. Steve, I think you saw some other things on this card. This is all I saw.
I saw Rivera Dominguez. Rivera looked really, really good, and for most of the rounds, he was a Dominican, or I think he's Puerto Rican, was he? Yeah, because Berlanga, Puerto Rican Olympian. Excuse me. He looked really good for most of the rounds, and then in round 9, he got hurt. Excuse me, by Dominguez. Lost that round, and that was all Dominguez got on the card. I think all 3 judges gave it 99-91, and Dominguez was in the fight all along. His eyes were getting swelled. He had Ismail Salas in the corner. He really gave a good account of himself, but he only won the 9th round, and Rivera does look the business. I think it was overconfidence. He thought, oh, Dominguez can't hurt me. I'm winning this fight, and he just got caught. If he can keep his focus, and he's got a good gas tank, the sky's the limit for him. I thought he looked absolutely excellent. And Dominguez can come again, unlike Jade. Even though the judges weren't happy with his performance, I give him the seal of approval. That was a really good fight. Good matchmaking on this card. Give Eddie a pat on the back for once. Oh, sorry. Matty's BRB. Go on, Andy. Did you see Rivera against Dominguez?
So I remember now, mate.
I think they're flyweights.
Oh,
or
that was a
bantamweights.
4-0 kid for Puerto Rico. Aye, he seemed to be quite the business, to be fair. Don't know if it was a 99-91 scorecard.
No.
In all honesty, I did think Dominguez was. Oh, he was certainly kind of standing and trading at times, but as I say, I did think Rivera was the winner, but no by that margin, to be fair. But yeah, I agree with you actually as well. I think it was one of certainly kind of in terms of depth of the card. I think the quality it was pretty decent for once. So obviously had the Vargas Rodriguez fight. Obviously it kept interest. Guys off Cano probably not so much. It was more interesting the fact that Cano was mere a question as to what he had left. Cruz again. If he'd mixed it up a wee bit different and was able to kind of force the issue and get the stoppage, it would have been a wee bit more of a statement. But hey ho. And Berlanga was meant to deliver that anyway. But other than that, it was fair fodder for Eddie, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. Did you catch anything else from the weekend, Andy? I'm just quickly going over a few things we had. I didn't see Jay Harris against Conor Butler. And bad news as well, Andy. We were supposed to be enjoying Anton Haskins, remember from last week? Lee Haskins' son against Suck Deep. No, it wasn't. It was Lovepreet. It was Lovepreet.
Lovedeck or something like that.
Lovepreet never turned up. He ended up fighting a Nicaraguan over 6 rounds, unfortunately. No Lovepreet.
Never seen it, mate. I don't know if Matty, if he's back yet, but he mentioned the result for Jay Harris. He said, I'm sure did he not mention before we started that it was a good fight? So I wonder if
Jay Harris against Conor Butler. The Nutters were watching that. They said it was a good fight. European title was on the line. British and Commonwealth. I didn't see that one myself. No, this was the Haskins one I was referring to. He's supposed to fight the Indian guy who didn't turn up.
I remember he mentioned the Indian guy last week because he had that odd name. But just to go back to Jay Harris very briefly, actually, I mean, fair play to him. I mean, forget how far back we're going. I'm sure he was European champion and back a few years back.
Yep.
So to come back there and just basically pick up the Commonwealth and the European crowns on top of it is fair play to him because he went to the depths against Martinez. Sandoval, who is a bit underrated fighter in my opinion, and that basically bodied him literally. I think Flores done the same, and it's been a bit of a rebuild. He's had to come back there at the domestic level, and that's what you got to do. Go back to old school. Got to go back down the level, rebuild, get a few confidence builders, then get back into the mix and pick up that European title as well. I just want to double check the rankings and see if he's maybe even in the top 10 at this point. Flyweight. Not really seen his name just jumping off the page to me just now. That was a flyweight, wasn't it?
Definitely European title usually gets you a nice ranking as well, doesn't
it? Top 15, nice top 15 ranking. But I'm not seeing his name in the top 15 just now. So watch the rankings over the next month to 6 weeks to see if it maybe updating Jay Harris appears there, which I think he will. Having the, as Ozzy would say, the traditional roots, Commonwealth, British, European. So yeah, I might go a top 15 call possibly.
No, that was a hell of a performance, I thought, by Harrison. What was a really fun fight where they both did some good inside work. But Harris, he just was able to get inside and just work the body, and he wasn't just tapping into the body. He was just swinging those shots in there. Absolutely shocked that Butler didn't get stopped in that fight. Honestly, it was a nice comeback performance by Jay Harris, 100%. Maybe this is his level, but he can make an all right living at it, and he looked fantastic in that fight last night, I thought.
We mentioned everything there, Matix. I didn't mention Salita. I don't know if you wanted to go to him. DAZN,
I didn't
wasn't
get
it,
a chance to
originally?
see that card. I never did. Did you?
I did. I can give you a quick rundown if you want before we move on.
Go for it.
So it's Ardreal Holmes Jr. in the main event, went in against Marlon Harrington. Harrington was a bit of a puncher coming in. There was a bit of beef between the two of them. Holmes obliterated him, dropped him 3 times, knocked him out in the second round. Ali Ismailov was on the card as well. I saw him fight before in a showbox card against Charles Foster. He looked okay, but he managed to get out there with the win that time. This time he fought a guy called Britton Norwood, who brought a bit of a story to the table. I think he's 6. I think they said I could be getting this wrong, but I think they said his 6-year-old son had been killed by a truck or something, and he had his face plastered. He had his face plastered all over his training top. So, there's definitely something going on there, but I didn't rewind it or anything, but I sort of was warming towards poor Britton Norwood after that, but Ismailov wasn't anyway, because he beat the shit out of him. He dropped him with a body shot. No compassion whatsoever. Split the guy's nose clean open. Norwood could punch, and he was very game, but he was taking a beating, got stopped in the 4th round. So hopefully, we wish him well. Joseph Hicks got a knockout win as well. Duval Smith fought a guy called Rolando Mancia. I'm going to bring him up here for you, Matty. That's him on the right-hand side there. He's 38. Looks like he's had a tough paper round anyway, old Rolando Mancia, if he's 38 years of age, and he got beaten by Duval Smith.
Shocking.
Pretty decent. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and
that's
then
a hell of a reach for a guy that's going to be campaigning at middleweight.
Yeah.
6'2" with a 76-inch reach. That's solid.
76. Big guy, big unit he was. And finally, because the main event and the supporting cast ended so quickly, they put on Cameron Pankey, who was 9-0 coming in, against Juan Martinez, who was a 2 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws Mexican, who'd been brought in at short notice. I think they said 24 hours notice, actually. And he upset the odds. He dropped Pankey, who was tough, and he really tried to fight Martinez. He didn't just fold, managed to last the distance, but Martinez got it by scores of 56-57 by a point on all 3 cards. So coming in at 24 hours notice, he's now 3-3-2. He upset an unbeaten guy. That was a real good fight. Good card from Salita. Wouldn't mind seeing another one of these.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday night, so you can't expect a lot out of it, but it's nice to have a chance to see some of these prospects on there. So fantastic.
Absolutely. It was in Michigan as well, so giving him something to shout about.
Yeah, might end up seeing the quote there. I bet if she wasn't training for her MMA fight, she might have dropped by.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see here. We got a couple of comments. Let's see here. Let's see here. So Mauricio Solomon said, very proud to announce a sensational fight which the WCBC Boxing has approved to sanction for their interim light heavyweight championship, Benavidez versus Vosdick. Wish the best of luck for both champions. Let's see here.
What?
Yeah. At Tony Pem says a couple of things here. Firstly, why wouldn't you order Canelo Benavidez? Probably because Canelo told you to watch your step. And secondly, why would there need to be an interim champion? Better be have only just defended the title. What a fucking clown. The WBC is a joke. Are they going to have Charlo's title finally relinquished at 160 now that he's in the conversation to fight Canelo at 168? And I mean, give me a fucking break.
Give Andy a break, man. You iced his ass.
Yeah, the WBC didn't like what he was going to be saying. Finish that shit right quick.
He was about to go off on one then. Oh, here he is. He's back now. Andy, censored.
I need to speak to you about something about this, actually, see if you can help me with it. But anyway, that's not the main point here. The topic is, how the fuck has Vosdick somehow managed to get this whatever it is, this title shot? Tell me, because what I can see in his record was 3 fights against absolute trash. Let's just put it politely, right? 3 fights.
And I'm glad to see him on the comeback, but there's more steps that should be involved in before you.
It's a joke.
He was put in the hospital with Peterbiev, right, for fucking days. Right, he comes back, has 3 fights last year, some sort of tune-up. Next minute, he's getting a fucking title fight. I wish I might, man. What the fuck?
It's crazy because it's at the stage. I know we talked about it before, but like they should just fucking bin the belts off at this stage. What do they mean? Like, what the fuck do they mean? What does it mean? Like, if Benavidez is the #1 guy at 68, but he can't be the fucking world champion at 68 because the best fighter at 168 is not going to fuck that holds all the belts is not going to fight Benavidez. Like, no matter what the fucking situation seems to unfold, they talk about it, he was moving to PBC because that was the big fight he wants to give the fans. I don't know who's responsible for it, but it looks certainly like fucking Suleiman's obeying his paymaster there. It doesn't seem like he's keeping Benavidez away from Canelo. Like, what's the point of the belts these days? Like, you find out who the best fighter is if they fight each other, but they never do. Like,
so you got to think about it. You don't want to piss Canelo off and have him just dump the belt, because if you're getting what they get like 2.5% or something like that as a sanctioning fee when all these unifications are in. So 2.5% of $35 million. I'm not going to do that math right now, but I'll tell you this: that's a lot of fucking money.
No, like I get from a business point of view, I get what he's doing, but the sport suffers. Like, it's like fucking. Why the fuck do we care about the sanctioning bodies if they're going to do this? You know what I mean? What's the point of having their world champions if they're deciding who the fucking guys are fighting, when they're fighting them and that? Like, I don't know.
Well, wasn't that the point when BBC kind of started? Wasn't that what Al Heyman was trying to do, is push the sanctioning bodies out?
Don't think Al Heyman started the BBC, though.
Anyhow, that is an interesting comment.
He started the BBC, wasn't it?
Who started it?
The BBC was around before Heyman. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, very much. Anyhow, let's go to the next comment. Let's see here from Marcus Bellinger. He said, "Hey lads, it was no surprise to me that Junto Nakatani made a statement dispatching Santiago in ruthless fashion, and given his size and frame, he could actually go up to a higher weight than Inoue and will be a formidable opponent in the process. Nice win for Kosei Tanaka, and a unification versus Martinez would be a cracker. I am a fan of that. I like Martinez a great deal. Also, a very good win for Takuma, and after reading Chocolatito is moving up to bantamweight. I only hope they put him in with Takuma rather than Nakatani. I think that Chocolatito is going to get smoked at bantamweight personally. Only the featherweight doubleheader next week, and I think Raya Abe, you bastard, could give Lopez some problems. Abe hasn't lost in over 4 years, beating some touted prospects along the way, and his performance against Kiko was impressive, but of course Kiko was well past his best, but he could still punch. Abe punches a bit harder than his record suggests, and his movement could present some issues for Lopez. Finally, I'm picking Kolmatov to beat Ford, who at times has looked okay, but has also looked beatable. Keep up the good work. Cheers, Marcus." Thanks for that, Marcus. Yeah, no, there's other cards on next week, Marcus. You just mind your mouth, sir. That was tell you what. But anyways, I like some of the points that you made in there for sure. I don't know, man. Steve, for me, I think Chocolatito, with this amount of inactivity over this time, moving up another division when he was already, pretty freaking squat for all divisions he has competed in, maybe short of minimum weight. I think that's a bad move. I would rather see him hang it up than wing it. And I just think he's looking at disaster at 118.
Yeah, I don't want him to see him become like a punching bag for people who couldn't have shined his boots back in the day. They tried that with Yafai, didn't they? When they're going to put Yafai in against him that time, they thought, oh, we'll scalp Chocolatito's name, and then he iced him. But
Leap Day 2020.
I don't want to see him just become a yardstick that people can knock about, and he's getting up in age now, and with the extra few pounds, as you said, he was always a short, squat guy, and he knew how to ride the punches and stuff, but... Yeah, I have nothing more to say than just we can't. I suppose who are we to say don't take those paydays? Don't you should hang them up, etc. But maybe he's chasing Inoue like everybody else. Could you imagine that could be a bit of a bloodbath, man? I just don't want to see him get taken out by bum dossers.
That'd be one sad, brutal round, I think, if he was able to fight the elder in a way. But yeah, thanks for your comments there on that one, Marcus. We appreciate you and listening very much. Also want to take a chance to appreciate all the people in the chat that we can name at this point in time. Sorry for anybody I missed. We got M. Lithgow, Mark Stanton, Thomas Newman. Johnny is in there, number 1. Will Ballston, MB, the Dr. FMG showing up in here. Let's see here. Badass Boxing Training is in here as well. Josh Ford. Take Ames. Yes, we will name Take Ames. What the hell? There, that was weird. Let me scroll up. Iron Fisted Champion. Harvey Price Boxing returns. Michael Thompson. Ray. Let's find one more in there. AP. And Ian John Lewis. Is it the real Ian John Lewis? God only knows. We thank everybody for being in there and taking a listen today. Appreciate you very much. Yeah, so let's move on here. I think we can get to these fights. Folks thought there wasn't much going on whatsoever. Oh, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. Let's start it off over here on Wednesday. Gonna have a Pro Box card. Everybody knows how much I love those. Gonna have 17-1 Justin Paldo taking on Miguel Madueno, sitting at 30-2 in a lightweight battle. Gonna have Senpatar Erdenebat. I hate that name, but he's a hell of a fighter. Taking on Mohamed Samaro. That's going to be in a lightweight battle as well. Interesting. Then a guy with let's see here. Najee Lopez. He's a sharp prospect. 9-0 taking on Marcus Escudero at light heavyweight fight. And a guy with an interesting name. This is a nothing fight. He's taking on a 1-5-1 guy, but Dwight Flemings Jr. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, his name is spelled like Dyke plus a W. So looking forward to this one. You'll be able to catch that Wednesday night stateside, Thursday morning in the UK. Let's see here. Then, Steve, why don't we let you talk about this one? We're going to have a card on Friday from Telford, from the International Center. Big deal. Going to have a Boss Burrow against Sam Eggington. And also looks like of the fights that could be interesting on there, maybe Andre Daskalou against Joe Jackson Brown, both of them undefeated at super middleweight. You think the main event, though, you think that's going to be good viewing, huh?
I do. When you said a Boss Burrow, I thought you said Ross Perot at first. Do you remember him?
I wonder if he's still alive for some reason. I'm curious now.
Not sure. Get him in the ring. That's what I say. Yeah, I'm not sure how international the Telford International Centre is, but I do know Telford, actually. It's quite a nice wee spot. Burrow, I think he's trained by Adam Booth, a German fighter. He has fought on these shores in the past. I'm looking down his record here, seeing if I can see any recognisable names. As for Eggington, we know what he brings. Channel 5, Friday night. He's going to take more shots than he should. His brain cells are going to be smattered. He's there for the European Super Welterweight title. It'll all be set up for Burrow to win. But Eggington's going to be there pitching, and wouldn't be surprised if he pulled it off with his experience. We keep thinking he's going to go over the hill, Eggington. I'm looking to see how old he is now. 30 years of age. Seems to have been around for ages. He's only stopped twice in those 8 losses, the Savage. Yeah, I would love to see him do it and carry on, but we shall see. As for the other fights, Andre Daskalou against Joe Jackson Brown. No idea who either of those guys are. Gully Power. He's from Wolverhampton, I think. Here he is, 7-0 with 1 knockout. No Power, with only the 1 KO there. He needs to change his surname, I think. Let's see who else we got.
I worry when they're putting a guy with 7 wins and with an 8-33-3 guy. I wonder how much hope they have for him.
Exactly. Casey Benjamin, I think he's from Birmingham as well. Yeah, we've shit on the Sauerlands in the past, but the main event's a decent one anyway. Get Eggington on Channel 5 on a Friday night. Classic fat mix sort of territory. You can't go wrong. That should be a good fight if the rest of the card maybe is a little bit underwhelming. So, yeah, I like a Friday night card as well. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. So that will be Friday, Channel 5. Let's see here. Then I don't know where you'll be able to get any viewing for this one, but we're going to have a card from Canada with a couple of undefeateds in there. Actually, 4 or 5, kind of maybe possibly 4 fights that could be competitive on here. You got 4-0-1 Mike Cabatuan against Jorge Valencia Diaz, 4-1-1. Ricardo Brown, 10-0 against Rafael Abdallah Sanchez Rojas. That is just one person, folks, with 4 names. He is 8-2 and coming into this matchup. Then we have 12-0 Mark Smither against Billy Ellington. I swear I've seen him. 11-3-4.
Billy Ellington is from London. He's fought Dalton Smith for the British title in the past. He's never been stopped. He'll give Smithers a good fight, actually.
11-3 with 4 draws, Steve. Maybe it's worth it to put a couple of bucks on that even fight once the scorecards are read. Yeah, 11-3-5 coming out of this. You never know. The main event gonna have Suck Deep Sing Body against Gino Natalio Godoy, who is 30-3. Sing Body protecting his 17-0 record. Steve, you come to find out you interviewed Mr. Singh Bhatti some years ago.
Well, yeah, no, I didn't interview him, but his manager at the time, excuse me, was running a company, United Boxing Promotions, I think they were called. I put the link in the chat here. I wrote the script for a promo which featured Singh Bhatti. I think he was about 2-0, 3-0 at the time, back in 2018. They thought he was going to go places. So here he is, 17-0 now, fighting an Argentine, being mentioned by us on a Sunday evening. So he's obviously made it. So that's my connection to him and United Boxing Promotions.
Well, rah suck deep, kick his ass, huh? So anyways, there's your Canadian action that we'll have. Then on a fight that I am going to be attending. Yes, I will be in Puerto Rico this next week. Gonna see Amanda Serrano defending her title over 12 rounds against Nina Meinke, who's been in there with a fair number of names. We'll get into that one in a second. Jonathan Gonzalez finally breaking, well over a year of activity against Renee Santiago, who is definitely on a hell of a run here. Christopher Diaz taking on the 18-1 Headley Scott with nary a name on his resume. Then you have Pedro Marquez Medina 15-1 taking on Brandon Valdez. That fight actually looked interesting as I looked into it a little bit. And then Jake Paul going to be taking on Ryan Borland 17-2. And if you want to see an interesting knockout from some years ago, go look up the footage of Ryan Borland being knocked out by Israel Doofus. He got whacked by a right hand, much like the one that Jake Paul throws. So let's hop on over. Andy, real quick. I know Gonzalez against Santiago might interest you. I know maybe the main event not so much. What are your thoughts on this card?
On the card itself, mate, I've just pulled it up there. Not really much there really to write home about. It says the main event. I don't really know much about the opponent, but I do know a wee bit about Gonzalez. He is your classic counter puncher, does it off the back foot. So I don't know if you've got any information on Santiago that you can maybe add in here. But if he's a come forward fighter, the two styles might gel if that is the case. But good to see. It's all Puerto Rico rivalry as well. I mean, obviously two Puerto Ricans, but good to see that Gonzalez is actually getting a homecoming fight. I mean, this is his first fight in Puerto Rico since 2017, for what I'm seeing
Andy,
here. So
I think he's going to lose, Andy. I was checking
so?
out Santiago. Yeah, Santiago against Kevin Vivas.
Okay.
I believe this is from last year. Heck of a good fight. Santiago getting a stoppage in the 12th round with just a viciously hard jab to the body. I mean, like, stuck it the fuck in there. In what was a kind of competitive fight where he was winning, but he can do it off the front foot. He can do it off the back foot. He's linky at the weight. He kind of throws them kind of slingshotting punches. An inactive Gonzalez who has been stopped in the past. I think Santiago, who has had an interesting run, if you kind of look up his box rec, it's interesting kind of travels there. I think he's going to pick up this title. I really do.
Interesting. In terms of other on the card itself, mate, other than that, I don't think I'll be tuning into anything else, to be fair. So I'll let you pass it over.
Yeah, Steve, I think the Christopher Diaz, this is a good fight for him because the guy with a shiny record, which doesn't seem to have much behind him. Diaz getting the wrong end of the stick in some fights. I think I might have had him beating Isaac Dogbe for some reason. He's a good fighter, and again, Jake Paul tries to give some decent fighters some chances on these cards. Got to give it to him.
Yeah, that was the fight that stuck out to me, actually, was the Christopher Diaz one. He's one of these kind of top ranked bridesmaids. They brought him in against Ito back in the day and then regurgitated him against Stevenson. He got to the last round against Navarrete before he got knocked out. And Dogbe, you're right, it was a majority decision, so it was a relatively close fight. His opponent has a shiny record. He has a nice afro as well, which I'm a fan of. But he's 18-1. His one loss was a knockout to Giovanni Cabrera back in 2018. So I think he has a shiny record. His last opponent was 1-3-1, who he knocked out in Jamaica. So I think Diaz, this is his chance to get back on the train here. If he's got anything about him, he should be knocking out this Scott, even though he's 18-1. As for the other guys, Gonzalez, yeah, he's kind of fallen off my radar. I've seen him fight in the past. Can't think against who. I see Santiago, 12-3. Bit of a puncher. You could be right there. Went over to Managua in his last fight, interim flyweight title. Yeah, he could be the fight of the night, that one. As for Jake Paul's opponents, I mean, they're handpicked. You mentioned the right hand. They know exactly what they're looking for. They were going to fight Hasim Rahman. Then he went in against, who was it he fought in his last fight? Jake Paul in the end? Was it the MMA guy, or has he fought somebody since that?
Oh, let me look it up real quick. I'm looking at the page. So
Was it Diaz? Oh no, he fought that Andre August, wasn't it? Who he knocked out.
Andre August.
Yeah, that's
Nate
right.
Diaz. Yep,
that's right. Forgot about him. He absolutely handpicked fight after fight. I don't know what he's doing with his career, Jake Paul. What his end game is, I couldn't tell you. And as for Serrano, fair play. She's getting 12 rounds.
He's a boxing promoter who fights, Steve. Like I kind of think that's the role he's evolved into.
Yeah, maybe he's happy, just training, doing what he's doing. He's got plenty of money. He can just do what he wants. Why not?
He'll sell a few tickets on his own because of his social media presence, and like chicks like him, and he's got his kind of
drag everybody up with him with his name, kind of thing. 100%. He's taken a liking to Serrano. I'll watch Serrano, Minka. Not that fussed, to be honest. But I have nothing else to offer. I'll watch it.
Well, the big story between Serrano and Mikey is the fact this is another women's title fight that's going to be over 12 threes. So in Serrano, was just pouring it on in her last fight in the 12th round. I kind of think she went the distance in a way just to show people, that women could do the 12 round, 3-minute distance. Meinke has she's had a pretty decent resume. She fought Katie Taylor many years ago and lost by TKO, but that was a bad call from the ref. I was watching that today. She had a cut open up over her left eye from a headbutt, and I think the ref called it from a punch. I wasn't watching it with sound, but then he did stop it from the eye. So she's definitely developed. She had a close loss to Sarah Mahfoud recently, who's definitely a decent fighter. The question is if she's going to be able to go this 12-round distance. She is a southpaw like Serrano. She shoots a good left hand. She's got a decent jab to her. She tends to try to do most of her work from the outside, but I don't know. I'd like to see Amanda get back on the knockout train, especially since I'm going to be there with a ticket in hand. So I'm looking forward to the trip, and I'm looking forward to this card.
I'm going to say, is this a quick enough turnaround? Because someone actually paid me to write an article when Serrano was fighting. Wasn't it Was it Ramos who she went the 12 rounds with in the last fight? That was relatively recently, wasn't it?
Let's see.
When was
I think it was it was October.
Oh, right.
Daniela Ramos, it was October 27th. So 1, 2, 3,
5 months
ago.
Over
4 months. 4.5 months.
Time flies.
But we're talking about fighters staying active, and she is. I mean, you got to give Serrano credit. I mean, she from this era of women. I mean, it's really. Clarissa Shields might end up ultimately be like the best boxer of the bunch at the end of the day, but I don't think she moved the needle the way that Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano.
It's all about matchmaking, isn't it? Their styles translated. Clarissa to a certain degree against Savannah Marshall, but Marshall wasn't really on her level. And the fact that Clarissa Shields, despite what she says, she can't punch, I think that hurts her as well. She can't produce those highlight reel knockouts, whereas the likes of Serrano and Katie, they're not really knocking out anyone highlight reel, but it's high action. It always feels like it's relatively close, especially when the two of them fought. Obviously it was. Whereas Clarissa's so much better than her opponent, can't punch. She's such a good boxer with a good engine. She doesn't bring the excitement, unfortunately. But Matty, you did mention Sarah Mahfoud, and I remember going back in the day to the Mike Tyson undercards, one of my favourite female boxers. I don't know if she's related to her. Valerie Mahfoud, a fine-looking woman, so she was. There she is on the screen, old Valerie Mahfoud from the early 2000s women's boxing scene. Things have moved on since then. Not sure what she's doing these days.
This might be wrong of me to say, but I think there's a reason for that necklace around there. Might be hiding something.
Well, I don't know, but that was Valerie Mahfoud. I think she fought Layla Ali back in the day. Anyway, there you go.
Okay. Anyhow, I'm gonna go there. It's just one of those things I noticed.
You're such a cynic, Matty.
Anyhow, looking forward to that card from Puerto Rico. Rob, do you have any thoughts on the card from Puerto Rico? I don't want you to stay silent for too long. You might have fallen asleep on us, Rob.
I fell asleep. I was daydreaming that I was in Puerto Rico there. That's what happened. That's why I couldn't answer.
I'll have a couple extra rum drinks in your honor.
Definitely. I'm just happy that you're getting. I wouldn't give a fuck what the fights were like if I was in Puerto Rico. That's the truth. I'd be just happy to be in Puerto Rico. So more power to you. Mike Check Barrique was on the set.
Amen. Gonna tour the Bacardi factory. kayak with
Ooh.
manatees. It'll be a good time.
No, fuck kayaking. I'm not doing any kayaking. I'll be on the beach chilling. Fuck that shit. Might get a
Glass bottom
jet ski.
kayaking.
Jet ski or something like that, but I'm not getting on a fucking kayak. No chance.
Not getting a fucking kayak, he says. All right. Well, one more card here. And then it'll be time to close her out with Steve in the Valley of the Week. But we got some time for this card for sure. Gonna be from Verona, New York at the Turning Stone. Been many good cards there. Another top-ranked card. It's going to be headlined by Luis Alberto Lopez and Raya Abe. Also on that card. Let's work our way up. Got a lot of the kind of prospects on there. Oh, look at that. Nico Ollie Walsh has been welcomed back from being kicked out to Africa for his most recent fight. Going to be taking on Luke Ianuchili. 7-0. Interesting. Taking on an undefeated opponent there. We'll see how that goes.
Struggling with Italian surnames, Matty.
I have never seen Ianuchili before. Ianuchili.
Too many vowels going on for my liking there.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that there's consecutive consonants. If I can remove those consonants, I think it looks better to my eyes.
Yeah, he needs to up his game, him.
Yeah, they're just cheating to Scrabble at this point in time. Gonna have 14-1 Bryce Mills and 6-1 Gertfred Nagayat in a 140-pound clash. Brandon Moore 13-0 against 9-6-1 Helleman Olquin. Gonna have Floyd Diaz 10-0. He's actually a pretty sharp-looking prospect.
He's good. Yeah, he's good.
Against Edwin Rodriguez. I don't think it's any of the Edwin Rodriguez we're thinking of. Bantamweight 12-7-2. Let's see if he's fought anyone. That's a lot of fights. He might have actually fought someone we know.
Floyd Cashflow Diaz, that is, Matty. Cashflow's his name, like the wealth machine.
That's right. Yeah. Let's see here. He's fought Gabriel Murataya, who I think is Raymond's brother, Dylan Price, Joshua Greer. He had a draw.
Saul Sanchez he beat as well. He's not too bad, this guy.
Yeah, he's had a good run of form here. This might be a little bit of a better opponent. Yeah.
Saul Sanchez was the guy you remember fought Jason Maloney last time out on that Quebec City with the Beterbiev Smith undercard.
Uh-huh.
He beat him.
Yep. And he had a draw with Joshua Greer. That was in the bubble. A little bit inactive recently. Nothing in 2022 at all. Just beat a 9-0 guy, though, and is coming back. So, yeah, might be a little bit of a better test for Floyd Diaz than we thought. My apologies for speaking poorly of one of the midi Edwin Rodriguez's that we've spoken about over the years on this podcast. Troy Isley putting his undefeated record on the line against Marcos Hernandez, 16-6-2. Let's not make the same mistake, Steve. Let's see here.
This is the one who fought Durrell, I think, isn't he? Didn't he fight Durrell before this guy? Yeah, he's the one who beat Jose Armando Resendiz. It was the only loss on Resendiz's record before he lost to Elijah Garcia last time.
Okay. So, yeah, let's draw with Brandon Lynch.
Yeah.
Went the distance with Atlanta's Fox. Another guy who's suffered from a little bit of inactivity, only fighting once a year. Yeah, it might not be a bad time. We'll see. That's might not be the worst fight there. Rohan Polaco taking on Tariq Zaina. This one I'm interested in, Steve. I saw Zaina it's Tarek Zaina. I saw him on a Pro Box card recently. He's a back foot boxer. He's a Moroccan who was educated in England, who is now training
in Mexico.
To be a boxer in Mexico.
I don't know what's going on there.
But he is a pretty sharp boxer, and he knows how to deal with the hard punching style. I think I don't know. I think there might Mr. Polanco might be in trouble, especially with Mr. Zaina paying 7-1. I'm interested in that one.
Zaina's nickname is the Camel, Matty, so I don't know if that's going to sway you.
One hump or two?
I don't know. Give me plenty of water between rounds anyway.
You want plenty of water in between humps at this age. You know what
I mean? We're scraping the barrel here, aren't we?
That's what I'm here for, baby.
I'm kind of glad. See, I can tell you, I'm kind of glad I'm going to be in Puerto Rico and I'm not going to have to go through this 5-hour card as I'm working.
There's no justice. Like, I'm in fucking Wexford. This cunt's in Puerto Rico. Like, where's the justice in this? Like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, I don't
Shit,
know,
so
man.
it's not doing that kind of language is not doing much for the shadow banning, is it? Sorry, guys.
I don't know. I don't know. Did you piss off God, Rob? Have you? Do you have anything to confess?
Well, that's a
Never
good
let him
thing.
out of that booth.
You just confess it, reset. It's grand. That's the fate. I mean, it's one of the few perks.
Fucking wonderful. Doesn't matter. You can have like chicks on the side and stuff. Just like,
Hey,
Father
yo,
Hudson,
come
X
on,
number.
move on.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking broadly to some people.
What's next for Father Dave?
Father Dave absolving Rob.
Quick, back to Rohan Polanco.
So anyway, we got past that. Brian Norman Jr., who I can't remember who he fought last time out. I still seem to remember him being in a stinker of a
Quinton
shit
Randall,
fight.
wasn't he?
Yeah,
Who lost at the weekend.
Oh,
yeah.
God, what an awful fight that was. Going in against Janelson Figueroa, Boca Chica, who is usually good bang for his buck. You never know. Boca Chica just might pull the upset in that one. And then a fight that some people think might be fairly interesting. Otabek Kolmatov against Raymond Ford, both undefeated. This is for the vacant WBA featherweight title. I don't know about this one. Steve, what are you thinking?
First of all, just quickly, you're right about Norman. I'm looking forward to that. He's been touted as a prospect, but he always seems to under-deliver a little bit. I don't know if there's something missing. And Boca Chica, he's on the losing side these days, but I agree, he'll bring it. So he'll find Norman out if he's got anything hiding there. As for Ford, something tells me, I might be thinking of Sims, that Ford was something to do with Eddie and Matchroom at one point. Yeah, he fought Bellotti in the garden with the pizza back in the day, knocked him out in the third round. So he must have been, I suppose. I don't know whether Eddie just got rid of him and got fed up, but he's a good little fighter. He seems to have found his way here. Knocked out Sakaria Lucas. Who did he? He fought somebody before, didn't he? Who did he fight? Let me see. Tug. Oh, he drew with Tug. Didn't he lose to Shakur? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Who cares at the end of the day? Let's get out to his record. Medina and his Jesse Magdaleno. He beat Ford back in almost a year ago. So he's been inactive. He's going to have to bring it against this Kolmatov because he's a good fighter. Somebody was telling me during the week, and I can't remember who it was to credit, that Kolmatov was a good guy. I know Marcus Bellinger was saying that he fancies him for this one. 12-0, 11 stoppages, looks like a solicitor on his box rec photo. Yeah, Ford's going to have to do his best to run out the way. That's when I've seen Kolmatov fight, Matty. Thomas Patrick Ward in Newcastle back in 2023. That's right. He just beat him down, didn't he? Dropped him numerous times. Really good fight, this. If Ford can stay on his bike, then I think he'll win. But Kolmatov's going to be bringing it from first to last. Vacant world title fight. Props to ESPN and Top Rank. I don't give them much credit, but I like this card. I think it's really good.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting fights on there. Bob's still working through all of these undefeated prospects. Interestingly enough, not very many of them in the same division here, so you can't.
I wonder how much Bob has to do with it these days. To be fair, other than being a bit of a
Man.
mouthpiece and turning up stoned at ringside.
I don't know. Wouldn't it be nice to have to not blame Bob for some of the dumb things the Top Rank's done recently and say it was Todd or someone else?
Todd is to blame for all these 10-rounders.
Fuck. Todd sounds like the kind of person that you'd fucking blame, right? Is Todd. Remember, I think that was one of the names that was mentioned in the Carlin bit about weak names making weak people and wanted to bring back Jimmy, Johnny, and Billy. Fuck yeah. Todd, Tyler, and Kyle.
Need more Brocks.
Brock. God, that sounds like it's fucking, they're just looking at some food and they're like, if we cut off the Oli, it's kind of hard, isn't it? Like, yeah.
10-round Todd, says Michael Thompson. There you go.
So, anyhow, before we go too
Mark
far.
is fucking stupid naming their kids. They're naming them after like fucking Irish villages and all as their first name. Here's my child, Monaghan. What the fuck did you why are you calling the child that? Crazy.
People think of some of the dumbest shit, and I think like the best chances you saw to see that like hear those names and see them in person was on the paternity tests on Maury. Like it's totally not a race thing; it's an economic status thing. Like I don't know if it's because they can't spell or they don't want to spell, but they come up with some fucking crazy shit. That's for sure. There's a commercial on for some fucking prescription drug on TV called Sky Rizzy, and I'm just like, I'm waiting for the first time I hear someone call out for their kid Sky Rizzy on in a Walmart somewhere or something. It's only a matter of time. Anyhow, Luis Alberto Lopez in the main event against Raya Abe. For some reason, I think Abe beat Kiko Martinez recently. Lopez not looking the greatest last time out. Who was that he was against the last time?
Joet Gonzalez, wasn't
against
it?
Joet Gonzalez. That's right. Gonzalez kind of turning it on, and some people thought when he went to the scorecards, it was a little bit of a pick'em fight. Is Lopez having a little bit of trouble going the distance because he's having trouble making weight? I don't know. Abe, I don't know. I suppose he's a decent enough fighter. But Andy, what are you looking for in this one? We'd like to see Lopez in a unification at some point. There's a featherweight title belt right below him. What are you hoping for in this fight?
I'm just going through IAB's record again.
Bastard beat me to Abe Maria. Yeah, bastard. Sorry, Eddie.
Well, you go first then, mate. On you go.
No. I was only talking about the joke.
Do you think that he was saying anything with substance, Andy? Like, are you new here?
I'll be.
Well, what I'm looking for really is obviously Lopez trying to keep running here. Obviously, just want to kind of make it. Hopefully, it looks good. Wins by stoppage. We move on. Hopefully, to better fights, unification fights at least. So all we're looking for really. I mean, you're talking about divisions, mate. To be fair, what did you say the best division in the sport was just now?
Well, probably 118 and 122. I think there's a lot happening there. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and there's a lot up for grabs there at featherweight, and really the other one. I mean, any word on Nick Ball against Ray Vargas fight? Is that still in the offing? It's still being mooted.
It's meant to be happening. That's
Is it really? Because I'll tell you, I really like Nick Ball, to be fair.
Yeah,
he's all action, and I don't care if he's limited in terms of defence. That guy is going to put you in the mixer, right? He is high octane.
When have you seen Vargas struggle with a squat come forward fighter? That's not even close to how O'Shaquie Foster beat him. Like,
no,
true.
But
That's his bread and butter.
But at the same time, Vargas is getting up age in that as well. And as I say, if Ball's able to kind of slip and slide and get past those long shots and start working that body, that's a heavy fight for him. But anyways, I think it's a division. It's up for grabs, and Lopez is definitely in the mix here. Who do you say was fighting for the other fight? Did you say that title was vacant? Who was the other fight?
That's Kolmatov against Raymond Ford.
Yeah, vacant WBA, Andy.
Right. So, yeah, it should be okay, that one as well. But in terms of Lopez, I just want him to see him remain on top. I'm trying to remember that Kolmatov. Actually, if I've actually seen him before. Is this one of the Uzbeks who's been under the radar for a wee bit?
He fought that Thomas Patrick Ward in Newcastle. You might remember, Andy. I can't remember who televised that, but I'm sure we watched it at the time.
Yeah, wasn't Ward ranked number one?
Yeah,
for
he
a while,
was 33-0-1.
Yeah, and he just came in and beat the crap out of him.
I didn't remember the Ward fight. To be fair, mate, that must have been on a low key show. I didn't remember that one. To be fair,
or you watched it 5-speed and it didn't resonate.
No, mate.
Oh, he's on the. I tell you what, Andy. Sorry, it was on the Ritson O'Hara Davis card. Do you remember that random card that appeared one Saturday evening, almost a year ago?
Who showed that one?
It was like it ended up on, I think, Fight TV showed it on some mad stream. It was Phil Jeffries.
Never seen
but
it,
it was obviously like someone else was promoting it behind the scenes, I would say. But Ritson Davis, that was the eliminator for Davis to then go on and fight Barroso, and Ward got iced by Kolmatov on the same card.
Right. But I know Ford, he's a decent enough boxer, so he should maybe make it a decent 50-50 rough fight and that. So yeah, it's just looking at it again. Actually, yeah, it's an okay, top main event and the co-main. Yeah, they're okay fights. But in terms of Lopez, mate, to answer your question, mate, hopefully he keeps winning, wins well, and gets unification fights. Because I wanting to see him either against Vargas. I'm really expecting Nick Ball to make moves soon. I don't know if Fulton will come back. In all honesty, Ramirez has got to answer. I don't know if he'll get the rematch, to be fair. Immediately. Don't know what's happened with Josh Warrington, if he's retiring or what he's doing. Who's the other one I was thinking about? Had the draw. He's up in weight now. I think is it Lara? Lara he's not up at 130 now, I think. So yeah, we'll count him out of the equation just now. Then.
Well, Lara looked like he didn't
look
like a Lara. Yeah, he hasn't looked like Lara the last two fights.
Washed at 26, man.
Yeah, that fight against Wood was like more bothersome to me because like the just absolute lack of effort is just like he was just fine getting the payday, and that's concerning. And that happens. Like
he's way off his best though, like now, isn't he? Like,
oh yeah,
miles off it, like from what he was. Like, how long ago was it when he? Sure, it's got to be 10 years since he fought Canelo, was it?
no, we're talking about Mauricio
Oh shit!
Lara.
Oh shit! Sorry. Failure of the week for me. It's half asleep. Oh,
that's you on the screen there, Rob.
Amazing. Brilliant. What a fucking moron. Brilliant. Sorry, shadow bands.
Oh, God love you, Rob. Anyways, that's yeah, I think this could be an interesting main event. Obviously, I'll have to catch it when I get back. I have concern. Lopez, he's a pretty thickly built guy. I have concerns about him making the weight. But I'd have to say that he's definitely, in close rounds, if this goes to the cards, he's probably going to get the lean. So I don't know. I think it'd be a statement if he could get Abe out of there, though. I think a stoppage on his resume would definitely help build up the buzz for a potential unification fight, especially if Kolmatov is the one that wins and looks good. Because then you'd have a battle between two legitimate punchers on the last viewing. So we'll see. But yeah, looks like there is a little bit more boxing this week than people gave it credit for. Rob, do you have anything to say about this actual card before we get out of here? or maybe your thoughts on Erislandy Lara, since it seems to be so forward on your mind?
Lovely misses, yes. No, I'm not necessarily on this card. Move on. Fuck face.
All right. Well, I guess with that, Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you for the value of the week.
Oh dear. Thanks very much, Matty. Matty's here for Value of the Week, episode 561. Rob's here as well, and Andy as well. Let's see. Damo sent me in a video to get everybody laughing. It's the bomber Bellew. Just leave him alone. We thought he'd disappeared from sight, but here he is, dancing away with his pals.
Shake your chest. Just show us what you got. Sam, I don't know what to do. Just do something stupid to start. I'm not shaking. Do something stupid at the other.
A few moments later.
Hey, that guy. Watch out, that's a good jacket. Here we go, here we go. Ready, here we go, we just go. Quite up. Stop moving on me. What hand do you want to go first? Here we go. Yes! Oh, yes!
Hates the limelight, does the bomber?
Who was the dude in the white hoodie?
What's the founder to even do that, eh?
No idea.
No idea. He's
took a lot of convincing there, didn't he?
He
wasn't going to do something stupid like that, Tony.
that dude in the white hoodie is super fond of Anthony.
Oh, man.
He might
Where do you go
find
from there?
there's a bacon belt there. Oh, dear me. Good old Tone. He's enjoying life, Matty. That's the main thing.
Except when, people are rubbing on him. He didn't seem to appreciate that very much.
So he says. Right, let's get on to the meat of the action. We mentioned earlier Develle Smith against Rolando Mancia. We'll nominate him for being 38. Going on 58, he lost, though, so he's having a tough time.
Rolando Mancia looks like one of the dudes that was going to kill was it Christian Slater in Training Day? They had him in the bathtub. He looks like he'd fucking be like telling you, I've had my shit pushed in.
That's a class niche reference, man. You must be going back about 25 years there, Matty.
Great, the 20 years.
I gave it one last week. What are
she pushed the shit
talking
back
about
in.
anyway? No, the Vatos. It was Ethan Hawke, wasn't it? Not fucking
Ethan
Christian
Hawke,
Slater.
yes, thank you. All these white guys look the same to me, Rob.
Oh, what a movie, by the way. Fucking classic.
Fucking hey.
Yeah, it was a good film. Anyway, Rolando, we wish him well.
That's how much of a fucking G Denzel was in that movie. Eva Mendes was just a side chick.
Fucking A. Fucking A.
There's Chris Algieri getting woken up, Andy. That's like us trying to get up for those Las Vegas cards.
Mate, it's me trying to get off for this. It's me trying to get off for this podcast these weekends, man. Jesus Christ, there is shit all happening, mate. I can't even get my loins up. What the? He's probably sat there with just his pants on underneath that desk, man. He's got out his bed, put his shirt on.
You think I'm getting up for 2 a.m. for Junto Nakatani on a Saturday morning? Are you out of your mind?
Fucking right, mate.
I just gotta say, so Alex
Bob says.
Alex Bellotti, hold on. Alex Bellotti said, "Is Ethan you nonce?" I don't know how getting that wrong makes me a kitty fiddler. It kind of seems like you're going like a little bit far on me making a mistake on a pop culture reference.
We're going to be on minus views this week with the fucking shadow ban. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh dear me. We wish him well. Rick Glazer. Someone said, do you dislike Eddie Hearn? He says, I've been questioned if I dislike #Eddie Hearn. The answer is I don't dislike Eddie Hearn. And actually, I think he's a cool guy. But I'm also not fond of hypocrites. And Eddie is the biggest hypocrite in boxing. Last year, surpassing even the incorrigible Lou DiBella for that dubious status. And that's hard to do.
He's a horrible ogre, isn't he? He never has anything good to say except about himself. Everything else is fucking negative, aimed at somebody, some passive aggressive fucking tweeting and some direct aggressive tweeting. Eventually we'll fucking find out what this cunt does.
He loves a hashtag anyway.
A fucking bag man or something like that, you know.
He's like a whip, isn't he? Probably, Andy. Do you remember the guys who used to run around and bring people from the dressing room and all?
Yeah.
Andy, you know who he kind of reminds me of, and like being a fucking asshole, you could see like not having any friends at his advanced age?
You.
Fucking CJ. No, I'm fucking 40. Remember CJ Rock that used to post on the fucking forum?
Alright, he shot himself or something like that, eh?
No way!
I don't know, I just made that up, mate.
Oh. I could see that happening because like I knew his wife left him, which also didn't show.
Oh Jesus! Stop putting this fucking guys.
So it's possible.
We used to
suicide.
That's only would have helped with his depression, if anything. He's a bit chirpier these days.
No,
well, at least we know he's not listening.
He used to claim he was. He used to claim he was in the corner with Tex Cobb for a fucking fight. I can't remember which one it was, and it was some big fucking one of the bigger fights that he was in. Just like fucking the most random fucking shit ever. And we used to fuck with him so much. Like we had a thread of haikus talking shit about him.
Oh, that sounded like a blast. I'm sorry, I missed that.
It was. You had to be there, Rob.
Oh yeah.
Miss the old days of the forum. Look, mate. Alex Bellotti says Rick Glazer blocked him for wishing him a happy birthday. That's the most Glazer thing ever, isn't it?
Fuck off, troll. You have been reported.
Oh,
he's always reporting someone, isn't he? On X.
Oh, yeah. Twitter / X, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Golden snitch of Twitter.
Like that person on the block who calls the fucking HOA every time somebody fucking leaves their car in front of their house for too many days. Like, just fucking mind your own business, you dipshit.
Yeah, no, we all know what the HOA is over here.
Oh, god damn it. That's niche. Fuck off. Americans got it. Homeowners Association.
It's that other lad that's not Gabe that comes on the box and others. He's the only other American that fucking listens, isn't
he? Beatbot Boop, he has an American flag, although I don't think he's actually American.
Justin Dole, Chase Athletics, and I'm sure
Justin
there have to be
Dole,
more.
that's right, yeah.
Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy lives in America. We're going to claim him.
Yeah, we'll count him as well.
In America.
Turkey has been doing bits. Boxing and MMA's 50 most influential figures. He is number one. Tony Bellew says the difference Turkey has made in boxing has been remarkable. We've had so many years of big fights falling by the wayside that it was making our amazing sport a laughingstock. It says the man who was dancing 5 minutes ago. He has quite simply restored boxing back to where it should be. Alicia Baumgardner jumped in and said, I would like to see what he will do for women in the sport as well. Yeah, well.
You'll be waiting on that one, Alicia.
Yeah, but she's still waiting to get fucking all clear for her drug tests, you know.
No, exactly.
So
the best way.
What's her hashtag that she has?
Oh, it's hashtag vindicated. The vindicated merchandise, Andy. You haven't bought any, clearly.
Well,
No. But in the day, is the best way to check if she's on the roids and that is to have Rob go in there and check the wee man on the boat.
Well,
see how big it is. If it's massive, then that's fucking clear proof that she'd be on the steroids.
She exonerated herself.
I don't kiss and tell. How dare you?
You're lucky to tell though.
I gotta tell poor Alicia though. She think Turkey's gonna lead the way on women's boxing. Erdogan be disappointed.
Oh.
Yeah. We're only 4 or 5 minutes late with that one there.
Well done.
Fuck you! I have to listen to you guys babbling on and hold on to my fucking joke. You're talking nonsensically.
Oh dear.
Bantering like a couple of gals in the goddamn coffee shop, you fucking women.
Paul jumped in on the bomber who was praising Turkey. He said, Tony twerking for a regime that would happily behead his brother.
A regime that would actually stone you to death, actually, Tony.
Oh dear me.
Anthony, sorry.
That's awesome. You're part of the family, Steve?
Oh, well, you know. If they offer me the right payday, I'll be there.
For a Saudi payday. Yeah, you said it. You fucking say anything, would he? Oh my god.
He's coming back. He's Big Tony, apparently. This man, we haven't seen him out in Saudi yet. The Shannon the Cannon Briggs. Now, Take Ames, to be fair, sent me this. I was going to cut it for the video, but unfortunately, Ames, it had some kind of orchestral music in the background throughout it, which would have got us even further banned. So
the Baroque Festival Orchestra. Well, I bet it resonates with him. You know, Baroque.
Fucking ban us at this stage.
Flat Baroque. Oh dear me. Yeah, he was getting his nose hairs clipped out anyway, so I've saved everybody.
Save the clippings.
Save the clippings on that one. Thanks to Take Ames. Here's one for you, Rob. If that's not enough. Derek Chisora, link in the bio for my OnlyFans, and there's a little teaser picture as well in case you.
What's on that? I wonder. Someone or others will do a review, I'm sure.
Hi, Ryan Dale. We need to get him on it. Look at the Tesco bag behind him.
Well, I don't know what the fuck. A lot of fighters are on OnlyFans, like, but I don't think they're all Malik Scott in it. Like, I think OnlyFans try to sometimes cross over into sports, and this is what you get.
Nobody wants that, do they?
I don't think so.
I'd give it 50-50 that Del Boy has a Union Jack tattooed on his cock.
Might, I don't know. Get on the OnlyFans and you might find out, might I?
No.
I liked by Johnny Fisher. There you go.
I'll live with that mystery in my life, Steve. There's some things that I just don't need to comprehend.
That's what they really need on OnlyFans. Big John.
Oh, no. I bet he's already on. He's bound to be, isn't he?
Yes, he is. It's like that.
Ebbs rubbing honey chili chicken into his back.
Oh, Jesus.
Cool thing, lucky thing for him is he doesn't even have to use whipped cream or shaving cream to cover himself when he's standing naked. He just like cover right past the sensors, unless maybe the boobs get caught. I don't know.
Okay, this could end up on OnlyFans here. Steffi Levy, just in case I ever lose my memory, she had EBU silver champion on her ass. And, not very well, I might add as well.
Oh my God.
With irregular font.
But like, it's not leaving much room for any of the world titles there. The rest of it's quite big, isn't it?
Would have been better if they used her butthole for part of the glove.
Ring Magazine.
Or the WBO. Anyway, no. This is outrageous, man. Steffi, what are you doing, baby? Come on. Oh, fucking hell.
Oh dear. Right, what else?
It's really offsetting those lounge under. Fuck me.
Eddie Hernandez has revealed that Tank Davis refused to discuss a potential $25 million payday to fight Conor Benn in the States. Do you think we'll ever see that fight? Says IFL.
Fair, mate. Actually, this was one of my nominations as well because a few days ago, Javante stuck out a tweet. It was like another photograph or a screenshot, an email that Eddie had sent, apparently offering Javante $10 million plus an upside at the gate and pay-per-view, and he wanted to discuss it further, all that type of shit. Anyway, he deleted the tweet, But the comments to that tweet was fucking fantastic. See all the wee rim lickers for like Miss Matchroom. We're all talking about upsize like as if it was something that they talk about all the time. It was fucking hilarious. Anyway,
I love those guys.
I wish exactly because I was going to share it with you. That seemed I go in and try and share it. The fucking got deleted there, the bastards. But yeah, that was a belter. 20 million. Love to see it because Conor Ben's it's a cash out fight, really. We all know this.
Andy, I believe in 2024 we'll see Conor Ben fighting Tank Davis for $25 million.
You shit house, Steve. I believe. I believe. Say it again, Steve, because if he does, Eddie's going to end up taking that role in the kind of white pasture, you know.
Eddie the Evangelist.
Eddie the Evangelist.
That's definitely on the cards.
In front of 80,000 at Wembley, one of those little microphones.
Can you imagine it at the Church of Miss Matchroom?
I don't think you can pull that off. I don't think you can pull all that off with a fucking British accent. I'm sorry.
Eddie could pull it off, man. Any problem. Eddie could say sand to the arms, man.
No, you got to have like that deep, like kind of like preacher resonant voice, like there's a man up in heaven, and what is his name? Jesus.
No, you don't. You just need Eddie Hearn in a white suit putting his hand on Frank Smith's forehead and then passing out and all that.
Frank Smith on his knees.
Yeah, Frank Smith just passing out, catching the Holy Ghost.
You should see him. He's getting hench these days, by the
way. Rise, Frank. Your leprosy is gone.
Do you guys think if Don King hadn't become a boxing promoter, he would have become a televangelist?
Oh yeah,
I do. Without doubt, mate. Without doubt.
That's the zone, isn't it, Matty?
It's coming. I feel it.
A
transition.
One of these night cunts now who phoned the fucking telly. They're going, phone 1-800-215-674 and drop your donation to the Church of Miss Matchroom. No problem at all. Aye.
And then you subscribe to the zone for the next 3 years.
Aye, and you can't get out of it at all, man. There's no cancel button. Right? You literally can't cancel your subscription. You fucking pay for the year and you can't end it any time. You're fucked. It's like a cult, man. Once you've
got a tithe, Eddie, now 20% of your earnings has to go to the cult of Miss Matchroom. Oh my god.
This shit always makes me.
Where's he going with that? As much as we want to see Tank in big fights, which he plays off like Conor Ben, as if he's taking an offer to fight Conor Ben seriously. The Tank is like, why would he like?
Conor Ben is the equivalent of fucking Chavez fighting a taxi driver while he was racking up 90 victories. He's just fucking one of them guys.
He's talking about he's a fight him in the States. The States saw his last two fights. You think they want to see him fight fucking Tank Davis after them two stinkers? Like, stop, will you?
You guys have him on. Yeah, I mean, seriously, they got him on at the fucking matinee in the small room of the casino, and they still can't fucking fill it up. Like, fucking Hatton had like fucking 15,000 Brits come out. Like, fucking Conor Ben can't even get 15 of his closest friends to make the fucking.
And then he's talking as if Tank is ducking him. Javante Lumpa and all he's calling him. Like, stop this shit. Fuck's sake.
What? Jumping up 2 weight divisions to fight a fucking chump who doesn't hold a belt? What the fuck?
Conor Ben's for the streets, mate. He's got all the guys in his corner. Oh, sorry, he's for the burbs.
It's from the fucking Jesus.
Anyway, moving on. Justin Dole put this one in the chat. Hype Boxing, Hasim Rahman Jr. versus a mystery opponent on March the 16th. Old TBA there.
I hope it's Hasim Rahman Sr. That'd be a real surprise.
Well, probably the best. It'd be the best win so far. Here we are. Who else is on the card? We've got Nick Pattywhack versus Stanley Velocity James III.
Also known as Nick Pattywhack. Give a dog a bone, him.
We've got Blunt Force Keith versus King Jody. We've got Brendan Kelly versus Cameron Grant. Not much going on.
Those are regular names.
M. Tathak versus Big Sam. Xavier Long versus Samatic. Not Logan Paul versus not Jake Paul. Evan Spencer versus Thane. Bobby Lang versus a mystery opponent as well. And Odd Danny versus Ziggy.
What the fuck is this?
What's going on with Rahman Jr.? Because his dad was a damn good fighter, but Matty seems to have taken this kind of comic celebrity route.
Because he sucks. What else is he going to fucking do?
Well, I suppose.
The mystery opponent, like, I bet he doesn't even know who the fuck he's fighting. Like, they're probably just going to find some guy out on the street who weighs over 200 pounds. Hey, you want to make $150 and get a hot dog? Come on in.
Another Kinahan promotion, says Alex Bellotti. Hype boxing. Oh, I don't know, man. What's going on there? Tim Boxay will be watching it anyway, so you can follow. Well, I don't know if he will be. It might be even too low for him.
You know, if you watch that, like, there is going to be like one disturbing knockout on there. You just like, you know that that's the case. And that's like the only thing where you'd be like, maybe.
Michael Thompson, Matty says Brendan Kelly looks like a roadie for the Grateful Dead.
That's my cousin you're talking about.
Fucking Brendan Kelly. Oh dear. Right, what else have we got? Final one. Here's one for you, Andy. He looked a bit worse for wear during the old Catchwell Taylor press conference this week. Josh, he could barely sit up in his chair, and
the golden can.
The mystery deepens.
The golden can. Just own that, by the way. See, I hear some nice wee boat at Glenfiddich at the back there.
Oh,
you see boat at the top, I think. Going on. Never mind that Irish piss show next to that.
He'll get to that. He'll get to that.
I will get to that. Just on that fight, actually, I had to laugh. It's Sam Jones saying that it was him that got Josh more money for this fight. He brought more money to this fight for Josh than that. But question: whose money is Mr. Jones bringing to this fight? That's the question. That's all I want to know. So, but golden cans, we'll keep our eyes out for it. It looks like a pint can, but I'm half the beer these days, mate, to be fair, eh?
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Off the beer and off the whiskey, or just off the beer?
Just off the beer, mate.
Off the beer.
I've had that much sense, mate. I've had that much sense, you know. I've put down the bad stuff and put out the good stuff, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to make any rash decisions or anything.
Yeah, he dedicates himself to that whiskey life.
Mate, listen, Premier League for me from now on.
Proper 12, all the way.
Fucking gas, man. Gas.
Right. Those are all the ones I've got, Matty. Do you have anything to throw in for Value of the Week, episode 561?
This might be a little bit of a reach, but I think I want to give one to the PBC. Here we are, about 8 weeks into the year at this point in time. They have one card announced. There's rumors that the Amazon platform will not accept who they're trying to put up as Canelo's opponent. Canelo's not going to take anyone else. There's rumors of other cards, but you're talking pay-per-view for Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin. I got to give one to the PBC, who seem to have finally basically hit a roadblock at this point in time where nobody is happy with the product that they're producing, and they're finding it hard to find anyone to buy what they're offering.
I think that's more than fair, Matty, and well put together. Almost unfunny, you would say, for the fighters involved. Only we are in Belly of the Week. The PBC have been nominated. Andy, what have you got for us this week?
Well, I was going to add that the Ben situation, mate, but just the one, I don't know if anybody caught it. Asylum Freitas was back in the ring there last night.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
I meant to go and check actually, see what age he is. Just give me a second, actually, see if I can find what age he is.
Got to be about what, 43?
What about your fucking time warp? Jesus
48.
Christ.
48.
48. So anyway, he was apparently in the ring. He was fighting an actor called Kleber Bam Bam. This guy's a bit of a muscle man. Apparently, according off his pictures anyway. I don't know if he's some sort of bodybuilder possibly in that as well. So anyway, your man Popo has fucking basically popped him in 2 minutes of the first round, smashed him out of the ring and that. So I fucked him up.
Jesus.
Popo's no fucking about. So he's back in the win column.
He is a fucking badass. He always was.
He was class, wasn't he?
He was brilliant, mate.
Punched like a mule.
That fight against Barrios, mate. The way he ended that fight, he was huffing and puffing for big chunks of that fight and pulled it right out the ass.
Like it's said many times, it's one of my favorite fights, and I personally rate it above Corrales Castillo.
It was the same card, was it?
No,
it was in Florida. It was in Florida.
Was it Florida? It wasn't even sold out to actually. You remember seeing the empty seats in the crowd at the time?
It was a hot night, wasn't it?
But it was loud because it was fucking Argentina versus Brazil, man. Yeah.
The moment when Barrios got the bad cut, Andy, and he grabs the referee and wipes the blood off on his shirt.
What a rivalry. Fucking hell.
Brilliant.
There was another one I was going to add, and I forgot what it was, mate. It was related to one of the ones you mentioned. I meant to bring it up, but I completely went right out of my head once we started speaking.
Ben Davis, was it to do with the Ben Davis situation?
No. Once you start recapping it, I might remember it.
No problem. Rob, anything from you, please?
Yeah, just Ryan Garcia's been wilding the fuck out, like, hasn't he?
Oh, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you, fool. I'm gonna beat you, fool.
Yeah, there's this whole contrived thing, but like,
He used to get a better trash talk, like.
he was married to a one, and then they had a baby, and then the day she had the baby, he fucking divorced
He got
her.
rid of her.
He divorced her to focus on his career.
Really?
And, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he fucking he was on Twitter saying, "I'm making this decision for the best of my camp and all." And then Haney's like, "This fucker's talking it and all." And he's like, "You're a bitch, but I can't blame you for that because that's how your dad raised you." He's just fucking lost the plot, right, Garcia. I don't see a good end here. Like, I think things are a little bit frantic behind the scenes. You can't be divorcing a bitch the day after she has a baby. Like, I'm moving on with your life. That's cold blooded. Like, fuck me.
Garcia was married, and they had a child.
Now he has children,
birth, and then
with other
decided to get a divorce as soon as she popped out the kid.
He did, yeah. He divorced her. Was like,
That's some cold ass shit.
that's the coldest. Like, that's brutal mente from Ryan Garcia there. Like, I don't know what's going on. But, like,
I gotta put some money on Haney by knockout because there's gotta be some sort of.
Go in the Teofimo Lopez route in him, man. He's bonkers.
Did you see his house get broken into actually the other week there?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, yeah, fucking posted his location out in Vegas, and the boys are like, "Yeah, come on, man. We'll come over." Like, that's, I don't know.
That happened to Ricky Hatton, actually. He says he was away to Tenerife. Who's got tanned the fucking first night?
So what happened is a lot of people in America, they put their fucking location up with Airbnbs with a lot of cash there, and they'd fucking end up fucking shot in the face. You know what I mean? It's a fucking rootless time. Like, I don't know what he's doing, or I guess it's hard to avoid the limelight. There's cameras on him. Like, even if he doesn't put it up, he's going to be seen in Vegas, I guess. But yeah, crazy times. But he's just a bit. I just don't see a good end for it. Like, and I think when he was potentially like, a main player in that kind of shake up in the division, the way he's acting, like, that's kind of crazy behavior. So Ryan Garcia just overall, but nothing else. No B-Hop's not taking anyone to the bathroom or anything this week. It's quiet enough.
Yeah. God, for the Haneys to not be the biggest douchebags involved in any given fight, man, you got to hit some levels. So fucking fair play to Garcia there. Fuck.
There we are. Fair play to Garcia. He's got nominated for Bellew of the Week anyway. Let's recap them very quickly. Tail of the tape, old man Sia. We've got Chris Algieri, no days off. He's up and at it. Real Rick Glazer going in on Eduardo. Alicia Baumgardner appealing to the Turk to get her on the card. Tony Bellew as well is also having fun. We've got Shannon Briggs in the Barbers. Del Boy trying to lure us to his OnlyFans. Steffi trying to lure us with her new tattoo. Eddie talking tank against Ben. Mystery opponent versus Hassan Rahman on hype boxing. Josh Taylor on the booze. And also we were played in by Tony doing the dancing, plus whatever the boys have thrown in. Matty, who are you going for this week?
Man, even though it wasn't in what you listed, I got to go with Rob's nomination. That's some fucking dirty ass shit by Garcia right there. That it's shouldn't be treating the mother of your children that way, and kind of fuck you, dude. So Brian Garcia this week.
Okay, Johnny's asking for any GAD sound bites. Here's one for you.
Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Sounds like Bob Marley trying to speak Spanish.
In Kingston, Jamaica.
Quebec City.
Quebec City.
Can I please see the Phoenix?
Yeah, one more for good luck.
I mean, you were literally fighting every month before you fought Joe Frazier in Kingston, Jamaica.
Oh man, my God.
Are you going for Andy this week?
I'll go for Popo, just purely because, man, I was just reading there, actually, his last exhibition fight he fought a guy called the Fake Vin Diesel. He's doing the rounds of the celebrity circuit here, man. He's earning a bit of keep. And he's also here. Part of his training, I've seen the video here. Part of his training, he's actually got one of his mates in his driveway holding up a fucking melon, and he's fucking punched it with one fucking drive, and it's just disintegrating with one impact. It's just bollocks, man.
Sounds like a mad action 80s movie or something.
It's like bad Jean-Claude Van Damme C-list movie bollocks. Like straight to DVD. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, man. Just straight to jail with this pish.
Okay, one for Ryan Garcia, one for Asylum. Freitas, Rob, who are you going for?
Asylum Garcia.
Steffi with the tattoo, man. Has to be.
That's who I was going to go for as well.
I can't believe that tattoo. Like, it's great. I'm not next to her.
I kind of want to see her have more success in the ring and just see if she runs out of room on her ass.
Well, maybe she'll have room in it anyway.
I was afraid to vote for Rob in case, as my father-in-law says, she has a we want.
We want to know. Yeah,
you get my meaning?
Yeah. What's giving you that idea?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a woman, so she knows what she wants.
Oh, good stuff. I'll go through as well. Why not? Anyone can get it. Congratulations, Steffi, Stephen.
This is it.
Value of the week. Episode 561. There we go. Right, Mate, save us from this madness, please.
Yeah, let's go. Bedtime.
You right there, Matt?
I believe.
Sorry. I would thanks for everyone in the chat there today. I'd like to thank Johnny for throwing in his customary 79p, as well as my dear Sydney for wishing me a happy birthday and throwing $9.99 in there into the super chat as well. I'd like to thank Andy, Rob, Steve, and also Des stopped in today. It was a nice talk.
Oh, Ames.
No, that was Ames. Why did I think that was Des? I'm having a fucking day. Fuck off, man. I'm getting ready to go to fucking Puerto Rico. I don't know what the fuck's going on half the time. And it's my birthday today. I'm like trying to have a good time.
Oh, happy birthday, asshole.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
yeah.
You taking the missus way to Puerto Rico?
No, she's taking me to Puerto Rico. She's the one who makes good money.
Ooh.
Take some blue pills with you or some red pills.
You're going to come back in a couple of years and bring him home again?
Yeah, motherfuckers did shit backwards. No. You find a woman to take care of you.
See, backdoor, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve. Oh, my good friend. I'm not like so disappointed thinking Des was Ames. I don't know what the fuck's going on, man. Fucking anyhow, just further proof that we need to get this fucking thing knocked out of the park here and finish her up. But so yeah, it was a good time. I will not be with you guys next week. Maybe I'll hop on for a second. I am going to be in Puerto Rico.
Well, we'd hope you'd be hopping on for a second if you're in Puerto Rico. Maybe more than a second.
If I hop on, if I hop on, Rob, I'm going to be so messed up on rum. You might not know what the hell I'm saying. So anyhow, I'd like to thank all these guys for coming on. Everybody who was
different than any other week.
Everybody was in the chat today as well. But we have some good fights coming up. I think next week, Steve, are you guys going to be previewing AJ versus Ngannou?
Yes, that's correct.
Slightly interesting fight there, especially after that performance against Fury. So we hope that you folks enjoy the week ahead. You enjoy the boxing. Don't forget the Pro Box card in the middle of the week. And we will see you folks next Sunday.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good happening.
Go to move!
We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking swank that can fight me.
I fell asleep.
You're a fucking bum. You're a fucking asshole.
Rumpo fucking Stiltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7 year ain't it? I will fucking smash fucking you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love boxing sounds, simple as that.